nobody serenades you but me, Dan. Take it away, boys. Take me on home to the asylum. Never alone in the asylum. Anarchy ruled, it was wild, but through it all you never smiled. Joke's on you, I'm in your head, so look who's laughing now. Remember in Arkham City, I killed your girl, so pretty. That was the night you let me die. But when I looked you in the eye, that's when I knew we'd be together. Look who's laughing now. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. Ah, I feel you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you. I am the clown, prince of crime. And we've had a hell of a time. You're part of me, I'm part of you. And now there's nothing left to do. I just can't wait till I'm in control. Who'll be laughing then? I drove you round the bend and I'm laughing. I'm with you till the end and I can't stop laughing. I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing. Oh yeah, I think I can taste your fear. Now that my time is near. I'm in your blood, I'm so alive. I only wish you'd let me drive. It won't be long till I make you kill. Who'll be laughing then? Barbara's dead and I'm laughing. Ah! Jason Todd's dead and I can't stop laughing. I'm even dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you. I drove you round the bend and I'm laughing. I'm with you till the end and I can't stop laughing. I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing. I'm cock-a-doodle-doo. All because of you. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. Ah, I fill you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. I filled you with dread and I can't stop laughing. Your parents are dead and I can't stop laughing. What else can I do? Now I'm part of you. There's nothing like a comeback, is there, Matt? Let's go again.
Welcome, everybody. How you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. I know I am. I know I do be do. How's everybody? AI music? Oh, dude. If you don't know that song, you just outed yourself, my friend. You just outed yourself. Pretty hardcore. Hate to tell you. Because that song is pretty fantastic. It's iconic even, dare I say. Iconic. It deserves more respect, frankly. More respect. I want a whole Mark Hamill Joker album, honestly. I think that'd be fire. I think that would be freaking sweet, dude. I think that'd be great. PS and Xbox servers were down globally. Well, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this isn't that shocking. But yeah, this is not the first time this has happened. In case you don't know what they're referring to, PlayStation Network outage hits thousands of gamers worldwide. Earlier today, a massive PlayStation Network outage took services offline for thousands of gamers, leaving them unable to sign into their accounts per reports on social media. This impacted the PlayStation Store, downloaded games, and any games that require a PSN connection. But yeah, let's let them just like rely completely on PSN, rely completely on their servers. Like, sounds good. It's one of those things like, you know, PlayStation does not have a great track record when it comes to their online services. Like, security wise, abysmal. They've had multiple hackings that have lost like people's actual personal data. I was speaking to somebody at Summer Games Fest who was a former employee at Insomniac. And they were there when they were there after. They had left Insomniac when those server hacks happened and had their personal data stolen, like their social security number and their home address and stuff were leaked, even though they didn't work there anymore. Like what? But no, they're going to do a great job when you can only buy your games and play your games through their servers. I'm sure it's not going to be stupid and a waste of time. I'm sure. It's gonna work out great. No downside at all. How are you guys? Warframe is even having server issues right now because of all this stuff. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's cascading stuff, and with most of these big guys, a lot of them rely on like, you know, the Amazon cloud, infrastructure, and like most of the internet actually is run by like not that many like cloud service providers. Like AWS is Amazon's system for it, and it looks super boring when you look up the websites until you realize how much of the internet runs on AWS. What websites run on AWS? Okay. Many popular websites and massive online platforms use and run on AWS or Amazon Web Services, including Netflix, Airbnb, and Twitch. Reddit, BBC, like some pretty major websites all use one provider. Like it's kind of crazy. What about Azure, eBay? Yeah, e-commerce companies, a lot of them use Azure, HP, like any of their subsidiaries. Kind of crazy, but that's just how the internet works. In order to build out data centers, you have to have a ridiculous amount of money, and there is, to a certain extent, you reach a point where it's like prohibitively expensive. You know, it just doesn't make sense for another smaller company to try to compete, so you just end up with basically a monopoly, or not a monopoly, an oligopoly, which is frankly way more fun to say, so fair enough. I can't even say it. Age Field High preview from IGN, Luke. I think we're all shocked that there seems to have been a course correction in tone with that. Yeah, if you guys missed it, hold on. I do have that here. Yeah, they actually made a video saying H-Field High Rock the School is far from the Bully successor we were hoping for. Bear in mind, like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, they were making articles and stuff saying, we hope this is just like Bully. We think this could be a Bully's spiritual successor and stuff. I have a sneaking suspicion that there might have been promotion as part of those packages, and now they are putting their honest thoughts out. And it's not that positive. But we'll cover this because it's pretty much exactly what you would expect. I mean, if you have two brain cells to rub together, I don't think it's going to be that surprising that this isn't actually very good. But we'll get there. Luke, Marathon is getting a full PvE mode in September. Do you think it can save the game? If not, do you think Bungie will suffer more layoffs? I struggle to think of a way where Marathon blows up and is super successful. Like, the problem is their current play counts can't support a team of like 400 people. I believe Bungie is now at about 400 people after the last round of layoffs. So like Marathon has to do a lot better, I think, to pay the bills for 400 people. You know, like, so I don't see how it works. If Sony's willing to let them build what's next, we have rumors saying that they are ideating some future projects. And so if they're willing to pay the bill to let them experiment and work on stuff, then they could stay afloat and not face layoffs or anything. But you can't operate a team of 400 with like across console and PC, maybe like 20,000, 30,000 players. Like, I just don't know if that works. You know, I don't think that works. And at this point, there is a point at which people have just moved on. You know, like, yeah, people like a comeback story, but they also have a lot of options. You know, that like they also have a lot of options. So even though it sounds really cool to be like, oh, well, what if they added this and this and this, and then Marathon makes a comeback and everybody starts playing it? It's like, okay. But I think to a certain extent, a lot of players have just moved on to other stuff, you know, and that's going to be really tough to dig your way out of, you know. Honestly, I can't see Agefield coming out, most cause I'll have a video for that month. I can't wait to see. I can't read. I swear to God. Honestly, I can't wait to see Agefield come out, mostly because I'll have a video for that month. Yeah, well, exactly. It's going to be thoroughly entertaining. I think, should we just talk about it real quick? Should we just go through this? Let's just do it. New segment. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but 2026 has not actually had that many contenders for the Concord Awards. You know, honestly, by the end of this year, it was going to be tough. It was going to be tough because there weren't that many nominees, but I think we have a real contender on our hands, man. I think we have a real contender on our hands. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's see. IGN did a preview. Shocker, after my videos. They didn't want me to try it early. Yeah, High Guard, I think, is the front runner. It's at the high guard position. We'll work on it. There's a joke there. I'll figure it out. I'll have Jacob work on it. We'll work on it. But let's see if the Agefield could give High Guard a run for their money. Let's see.
I really wanted to like Agefield High Rock.
I didn't. In the trailer, they'd straight up have a noose. Like and like insinuate that multiple professors are involved with let's just say illicit behaviors with minors. So I was not exactly rooting for this, but let's see.
The school. It wasn't shy about wearing its bully influences on its Letterman jacket, and Rockstar sure doesn't seem interested in a sequel, but 6 missions in, I think I'm ready to drop out of Agefield High. Bathed in hollow, early aughts nostalgia, it feels like the adolescent hallucination of someone who's never set foot inside of a suburban American high school. Its faux punk, juvenile tone felt more like a sauceless ChatGPT redux of American Pie era comedies, filtered through a No More Heroes side quest than a cheeky, Rockstar-style lampooning of Anytown, USA. I've biked from corner to corner of Agefield, delivering food, fighting bullies, maintaining my GPA, and learning to fit in with my fellow rejects. And after dabbling in as much main and side content as possible, I'm struggling to find anything redeemable about this game beyond a gag.
Say it with me. I told you so. I told you so. Remember how just like a week and a half ago, I think it was IGN and GameSpot had articles out suggesting that this was going to be a spiritual successor to Bully. Like, utterly insane if you've seen any of these trailers. Like, it's insane that anybody was hyping this up. But for real, like, they actually were. I suspect, and this, I want to be clear, this is alleged. I don't have any, like, crazy evidence or anything. I just have a sneaking suspicion, and as we watch through the rest of this, I want you to keep an eye out for it. I have a sneaking suspicion that this game was like 80% made by AI. Okay, like not just the script, but a lot of the coding, a lot of the art assets and stuff. You'll start to look around and be like, I think the what did he say? He said like it's a hallucination of someone who never actually set foot in high school. It's like a robot's interpretation after being fed a bunch of like movies like Joe Dirt. You know, it's like what it thinks it is supposed to be. That, or it's a combination of like AI tools mixed with, I don't know where the studio is, but it kind of gives me the idea of like a team that's in another part of the world that's never interacted with American culture or like American high schools in that era. because it's like, it's not just stereotypes. It's like stereotypes of stereotypes. It's like even more reductive than that. But anyway, let's see.
Stuff I saw was unpolished, uninspired, and flat.
It was just a prank. I didn't know he'd end up in the hospital.
I don't see the big picture stuff improving, even if Agefield High's rougher edges, namely its buggy gameplay and wonky physics, get sanded down before its rapidly approaching August release date.
Good morning, everybody. This young man right here is our new student, Sam.
Looks like a loser.
Agefield feels like it's about to bubble over with appropriate angst. Adults are stuck in dead-end jobs and loveless marriages. Teachers don't know what they're doing. The elderly are constantly complaining about kids these days, and everyone at your school is shaking the bars of their fluorescent-lit enclosure, ready to get on with life. But compared to some of my favorite coming-of-age comedies, it's all skin deep. It doesn't engage with culture, time, or place in a way that measures up to the movies it's borrowing from.
Hold on, just like real quick for a moment, read the subtitles. Okay, first here,
comedies, it's all
Seth, if we get busted because of you, I'm gonna kill you, virgin. Okay.
Skin deep. It doesn't.
You're lucky I had to sand the calluses off an old woman's nasty ass feet, and all she gave me was an effing $1. It's like if you trained an AI on like old episodes of Malcolm in the Middle and then like tried to then make jokes based off of that, but with none of the like setup for those jokes or for those moments or the delivery. It's just like the anecdote. It's just the post-it note. Because I think there was even a storyline in one of the old episodes of Malcolm in the Middle where like he has to go, oh, it's that he like threw a baseball or hit a baseball. It broke the lady's window or something. Or she broke her arm somehow. And so then he has to go and like help her as she's going about her life until her arm heals or something like that. And so like it's the whole premise of the episode, but then there's like jokes stacked on top of that over and over and over again, and it builds and builds and builds until eventually he like builds this rapport with the old lady. This is just like the anecdote of I scrubbed calluses off an old lady's feet. You know, like there's no depth. It's just that. It's just that, you know, it's really, really, really shocking.
Engage with culture, time, or place in a way that
Malcolm in
measures
the
up
Middle's
to
great.
the movies it's borrowing from. I was 2 years old in 2002, and even I can tell you this is a hollow knockoff.
Hold on, what? He was 2 years old?
Years old in 2000, a way that measures up to the movies it's borrowing from. I was 2 years old in 2002, and even I can tell you this is a hollow knockoff. I'd feel in.
Wait, is this one of those videos where someone else wrote it and then he's reading it? I think they showed that at the beginning. Hold on, we're at 209.
It wasn't. I really wanted.
Yeah, okay, because Ryan is not 26 years old. Okay. I was like, Ryan is not 26 years old. Not at all. But I see. It's written by this guy, Charlie, and then Ryan McCaffrey is doing the video voiceover for some reason. I honestly, I don't know why IGN does that. I honestly don't know. I guess it's because like he's their main cast or something, but I don't know, man. I don't get it. You hear that, you're like, he's not 26. He's like in his mid 40s, mid to late 40s. He's like their executive editor. He's been around forever.
I'd feel insane too if I lived in a town the size of 4 city blocks and heard the same few lines of dialogue everywhere I go. I didn't keep a strict count,
Dude, they're
but I
so
think
scary.
most kinds of NPCs, divided by age and sex, each got about 5 lines. Some characters, like your mom, the school bully, or specific teachers, get their own. I swear I'd heard them all within an hour. I think I'll lose my mind if I hear another
Mr. Carpenter gave me an F.
or
When I was your age, I wanted to become a movie star.
or
I have so much homework. Ugh.
It's time. But be careful. Mr. Haley's roaming the halls.
Dude, I'm sorry. Just like, what is that? What even is that? That's so scary. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just scary. Like, say what you will about High Guard. May it rest in pieces. The production value is high. I mean, they had to spend that $100 million somewhere. The production value was high. You didn't have characters that looked like, 1980s claymation special effects creatures. Like that's horrifying. Luke grabbing on indie devs. I don't even know what this is, dude. Like, I don't know what this is. This could be totally robot. Like, one of those, Elon was saying, he's like, in a couple of years, we'll have the ability for Grok to generate your own GTA game. I don't know if this is like one of those things where it's just an AI that pumped some crap out, or if it is honestly a team. I don't know. All I know is that it's shocking. It's genuinely shocking. It's stunning.
That should give you a good understanding of the kind of script Refugium Games are working with. Its derivative ideas and uncartoonish caricatures offer nothing to set this specific shade of gray apart. Each cutscene will leave you sighing and rolling your eyes at its parade of cliches. And what is memorable or noteworthy is bad. At the very least, sometimes it's funny bad.
Hey! No one gets pregnant on my watch!
This is...
Okay, that's funny. I'll give you that. We saw that in another trailer. That is genuinely funny. Like, the idea that the security guard is patrolling the halls to make sure no one gets pregnant. That's funny. I'll give him that.
All made worse by Agefield High's dogged attempts to undermine each cutscene with Uncanny Valley characters, whose faces and mouths move and change just enough to be unsettling, but not nearly enough to be taken seriously. Naturally, this is all framed with some of the worst cutscene camera choices I've ever seen in a video game. Nearly every cutscene or mission will start with a close-up of a character's face that lasts seconds longer than it needs to. Every time. And every time, they just stand there staring blankly, often directly into the camera. It's hilarious, just not for the reasons the writers want.
Now, let me be clear. I do think there is a world in which this game could do well. Like, I do think that there is an audience out there for, like, indie AA bully spin-off game. I would love an irreverent bully spiritual successor. And I think that is a ripe bush for the plucking. Is that an analogy that works? Maybe. I don't know. I think that could work. Because people obviously love bully. They love irreverent games. They love games that are like ridiculous and outrageous. I think that could work. But I think what you're also seeing is it's a lot harder to do than you might think. One of the classic mistakes I think a lot of people make is that they think because X game or X format was like doable in... When did Bully come out? Like 2000, I think it was a while back. It was like 2006 or something. Just because they were able to do that back then with like 30 people, we should be able to do the same thing today because we have Unreal Engine and we've got the AI tools that can help us code and all that and write the scripts and everything. And it's just not the case. It is way harder to do than you would think. It is way harder to do. Especially because as the last 20 years have ticked by, the expectations have risen. Back in 2006, you could have a really low poly model with just its mouth moving ever so slightly like a puppet. Nowadays, when you render the image in 4K and you're using high quality Unreal tree assets and house assets, and then you're using metahuman characters instead of low poly models, all of a sudden you can't do that anymore. The like really basic mouth animations triggers the Uncanny Valley way worse than if I think if they went with like a low poly version. I do think that like if you were to do this, the cheat code would honestly be bully gameplay. Would honestly be to like lean in fully to the bully inspirations and just make everything like low poly and make everything like the OG, you know? Embrace it. Yeah, you don't need super realistic face animations when you have low poly models, and your brain kind of understands that and accepts it. It's not, this isn't real, right? You're not trying to be real. So you can get away with easier things. I believe all of these were also motion captured, which is also really funny. That now that's considered pretty rare. But anyway, continuing.
Could forgive poor tone or a bad script for some fun gameplay, but Agefield High cast no such lifeline. I spent most of my time with the demo biking around town. Sometimes I was running from a bully or racing against a clock. Other times I was meeting up with my friends in the park. You can do tricks on the bike you earn early on in the game, but I was never really encouraged to take advantage of them aside from a few ramps scattered around town. If there's anything redeemable in the chunk I played, it's this. The cycling isn't necessarily amazing, but it's really the only part of the demo that felt right. Crashes even end with that goofy GTA-like ragdoll, just with wonkier physics. But every once in a while, failing a mission or getting knocked out would respawn the bike in a place that soft-locked me from completing the mission. Luckily, Agefield is filthy with bikes you can pick up should your bike spawn in a bad spot.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
When you're not hell on wheels, chances are you're sneaking around somewhere you shouldn't be. Most missions ended with some kind of stealth, in fact. This kind of teen comedy almost begs for some stealth comedy with its panty raids and teacher's lounge burglary.
Do they literally have you doing panty raids? Is that literally what it is?
Comedy with its panty.
Get Ashley's panties. Wow, that's. You know what? It is very early 2000s. It is very early 2000s. Like, very, very much so.
Raids and teacher's lounge burglary. Unfortunately, these sections aren't very polished.
What I find funny, though, honestly, with all this, like, remember that IGN is the same outlet that did that, like, hit piece on Black Myth Wukong's developer, saying that it was, like, super problematic and that nobody should support it and that the studio was, like, crazy sexist. And their final bullet point, they're like, final thing to, like, prove that they really, really nailed this. And I'm not joking. Their final period on their argument was that the logo for the company looked like a sperm. I am not joking. We did the videos going through the article and everything. I don't want to pull it up again because I don't want to give them ad revenue, but you can see the clips we did on it. They literally finished their argument by saying that, I'm just saying it's really interesting that this company has a logo that looks kind of like a sperm. Therefore, the company is sexist. What? And then here they are, like just a week or two ago, IGN was putting out posts hyping up this game, which has you doing literal panty raids. Like, what are we doing? I think they're all kind of like, yeah, for one, that's actually a particle effect from their previous game, which was like a mobile game shooter. It's not a sperm, but even if it were, why is that a problem? But then with this, it's like, yeah, it's a video game. It's stupid. You're doing a panty raid because it's like a stupid quest line meant to mimic early 2000s movies like this. Like, it's stupid. It's fun. It's whatever. But like, let's at least try to be consistent. This is why, like, I can't take them that seriously when they do those like hit piece articles trying to play holier than thou, but then hype up a game that has you doing literal panty raids. You know?
There's always an indicator somewhere on screen telling you when you're visible, but I swear I've been seen while outside of the clearly broadcast vision cones on your HUD, sometimes even through a wall or on another floor. It's just frustrating how fast and loose this stuff felt. Thankfully, these sections are all pretty short, so slipping up, or getting caught by someone with X-ray vision, won't set you back too much.
Security!
But sometimes you'll get caught and need to fight back. This is by far the most egregious part of the gameplay, and also the most frustrating. The fights I played all went the same way. Throw punches while locked onto your target, block a few blows, push your enemy to break their guard, kick a few times, and hope that everything connects. While there is a lock-on, there's no tracking, so each attack is disjointed from every other action, including movement. So you stop moving while punching or pushing. This breaks any momentum or link between attacks you throw out, causing a lot of punches to whiff even though they look like they'd connect. It's kind of a miracle of physics that the punches are weightless and the movement is heavy.
Welcome to class, boys and girls.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense at all. This whole game is confusing.
Your misadventures contend with a rigorous academic schedule that's lined up with an in-game clock. English, German, geography, math, and music classes all come with a mini-game to complete, each ending with a letter grade based on your performance that determines how much of your allowance you actually make. All of them, except for music, are the exact same multiple-choice quiz, just with German vocab swapped out for identifying countries on a map or filling in missing letters in a word on a spelling quiz. The minigame for music class, which also gets used in one of the last missions of the demo, is a shoddy Guitar Hero-like rhythm game whose inputs don't hit with any oomph and generally feel offbeat.
Dude, that would drive me crazy. Like, doing a rhythm game that isn't in sync with the rhythm sounds like literal torture.
Need to attend class, but missing classes will make it harder for you to earn an allowance, thus giving you less money to spend on new clothes, a haircut, or a snack from the hot dog cart.
We have the best prices in Agefield.
The tutorial even suggested that you might get the attention of the police if you miss enough classes. If you cut class, it's probably to check out the other side content that's equally repetitive. I saw 2 different chore-like missions. A lawn mowing minigame that's ripped straight from No More Heroes, and a food delivery minigame which is a great way to earn some extra in-game cash. There are also some one-off side quests that take you to new parts of town, but they follow the same structure as the main stuff. Every inch of Agefield feels gray, flavorless, and flat in a way that makes me wonder if AI was used. That's not an accusation, to be clear, but it's at the very least an indictment of what's being presented.
I mean, it's pretty bad if you can't tell the difference. It's like Schrodinger's AI. It's like, is it here or is it not? I can't tell. So does it actually matter if it was or if it wasn't? Like, it's so soulless that you can't tell, which says a lot.
No sense of originality or style like in the games and movies it's so clearly ripping off.
I think it's also the problem with using like, well, any sort of asset packs and stuff. Because nowadays you can go within Unreal or Unity has their own platforms for this. But like even with just Unreal specifically, you have like metahumans to make NPCs. You have crazy huge asset packs that have like houses and buildings and trees and cars and any sort of weapons you might need, animation packs and all this. It's just all download, drag and drop. Like, it's very, very straightforward. And so you can skip past that part of production, which is really nice and can speed things up. But then you just end up with something that looks generic because it is. It's just like free content packs or $50 content packs that you just drag and dropped in, and there's nothing truly unique to tie it all together. Now, if you were to go back through and do like maybe super specific lighting or redesign the characters, or what a lot of studios will do is that they'll use those types of asset packs as placeholders, and then they go back in later and replace all the assets with stuff that they've made or that they've contracted another company to make for them. But I just think like when you're just using asset packs and then you do nothing with them, you will end up with something that looks generic because it is, you know? Joseph says the fact that this game is getting so much coverage shows that there's a big appetite for an actual Bully sequel. I just think it's hard to make something like this in the current time we live in. I think it's hard to make something like this, period, full stop, no matter when. I mean, 10 years ago, this would still be hard to pull off, which is why basically nobody has. And today it's probably even more difficult because things are super expensive. And there is, I'm going to be real, honest question in chat, agree or disagree. I want to know. I've heard a lot of people say you couldn't make a game like this today. You couldn't make a game like Bully. You know, you couldn't make a movie like Tropic Thunder today. And I'm not sure I buy that. I guess it depends on what you mean by you couldn't. I think it would perform very, very well. I think if you were to do like Bully 2, I think that thing is a smash success. Will some people on Twitter or Blue Sky like throw a fit? Sure, I guess. But I think that there is a hunger for it, and I think they would perform financially very, very well. I think that they would go viral. I think they would pop off. Now, when somebody says like, it would be hard to make this, maybe what they mean is it would be hard to secure funding in a traditional way. Like it would be hard to get an investor to give you $100 million for something that might be seen as controversial. And that perhaps I could see that being the case. But I also think that there's people out there or companies out there that could do it and take that leap. But that's just, you know, my suspicion. But yeah, I'm not sure if that's the case. I do think that irreverent games are popping off. They're doing really, really well. I mean, there was even that one that went viral just the other day where what was it called? It was that like plane game or like where you play flight attendants or something. Let's see. I think Jake tweeted about it. Hold on. I think Jake tweeted about it. Please hold. Let's find it. I'm scrolling. I'm still scrolling. I've been scrolling for a while and I'm still scrolling. We're looking. We're scrolling. Oh my God, he tweets a lot. Jake, we need to get you outside more. Jake, oh God, here we go. Still scrolling. Is this it? No, that's not it. I swear to God, he tweeted about it. He just tweets a lot. Oh my God. This is crazy. Here it is. Found it. So this game is another example of one of those like irreverent games that's like blowing up. I mean, I think they hit 1.5 million wish lists on Steam like it was nothing. And that is crazy impressive for a game that was previously unknown. Okay, it's a big deal. But when I say like irreverent, people like games that like are not trying to toe the PC line. Look at what this captain's name is. Look at what this captain's name is. IGN wrote an article trying to get the game canceled, saying a lot of gamers are really pissed about this because this guy's name is Epst J or J Epst, and he's piloting a private plane. You know, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what the reference is. But like, yeah, and then other people start clipping it. This was literally just Spirit Airlines. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I'm not going to scroll further. I know what that is. So anyway, I think that like the irreverence and people just being like edgy, it's kind of back in now. Like, I'm sure we'll swing in 5 to 10 years back and everybody will be puritanical. Everybody has to pretend like games are hymns and need to be towing this like very, very PC line. But I think right now people are in more of a punk rock phase. Like they're just looking for something that is different, that stands out, you know?
It doesn't help that some characters bear uncomfortably close resemblance to real-life people, like the old man in town named Clint, who will look familiar to any fan of Westerns.
They tried to steal my lawnmower.
A lot of the mechanical wonkiness could potentially be fixed or built upon, but probably not in time for launch, as this game is out next month. I just don't see its feeble skeleton of Leonardo DiCaprio pointing level references and unbearably bad writing improving in any meaningful way over the remaining handful of missions. I could see this attaining cult status, but probably more like The Room or Book of Henry than Superbad or Napoleon Dynamite. I have a feeling that fans of the long sidelined Bully franchise who hoped Agefield High would recapture even a little bit of that classic's magic will be thoroughly disappointed when Agefield High Rock the School releases on August 12th. For more previews of the big...
Yeah, honestly, probably accurate. But it does just go to show you again, I think there is a real hunger. I think it was Joseph that said, the fact that this is getting so much attention shows that there's an interest in that type of game. And I think that's absolutely true. People want Bully. People would love it. They would love it. And, you know, we've been talking a lot about like GTA 6, what's happening with GTA 6 next. And what does Rockstar do after that? What's their next big project going to be? And there's options on the table. You know, they could go back and do sort of Red Dead 3 or a prequel, or they do like a game focused on Sadie or something. which I think could be cool. Or they go back to Bully or LA Noire. Or what has been rumored for a while, which is that they have experimented with a medieval game. You guys might have seen that interview he did with Dan Hauser. We looked at bits of it, but we talked a bit about it. And in this interview, hold on, let me see if I can find the transcript. In this interview, he did talk about medieval. Maybe he said like knights, maybe. It's gonna be hard to find. Here's a snippet. Here it is. This is what he said.
And then we played around with a knights concept that was knights and sort of trying to do a
So just be clear, he's one of the former like head honchos at Rockstar.
A version of a mythological game that could have been fun, and still love that idea, but never went very far with it.
Knights would be going really far back in history.
Yeah, it would have to go. It never got to writing any of it. Just did some backstory and played around with a few ideas, but it was it's always something I thought I would never do, and then kind of fell in love with it a little bit.
So they played around with it. They might, but seeing Agefield High shows there's interest in Bully. A Knights game, let's be real, with like Red Dead 2 levels of production value and like budget and effort would be amazing. Going back to LA Noire, oh, please. Or, they could go back to Red Dead or whatever. They could do that. In this same interview, he talks about the spy concept because they previously announced like a game called Agent, I believe is what it was called, and it never saw the light of day. And he basically said that he thought as far as open world games were concerned, there's just not a way to do it that works. Like you kind of need to go linear. You effectively need to do the 007 First Light route, which works. But as far as like a Rockstar open world games, they were not able to figure out a concept that worked for their format in like the spy espionage format, which is kind of telling. I mean, if these guys can't figure out how to make that work, then I don't think anybody can. But yeah, medieval could work, Red Dead could work, LA Noire.
Imagine Rockstar X Pirates of the Caribbean game. OMG.
One word. Throbbing. 2 words. Full mast. That's my reaction to that. I agree. Can you imagine if they did like full on pirate open world with Rockstar production value? Bro. Yes, please. Daddy's hungry. I would love that. I don't know if they ever would, but I think that would be amazing. But again, Bully, I think is a layup. I think that could be cool, but it's also I understand it's not as simple as it once was, because whatever they pick is something they're going to work on for 5 to 6 years, and that probably will have a budget in the realm of like $1 billion+. So what they are looking at, and this is the kind of crazy thing, they might at this point be too big to do a Bully. Like the version of Bully they would do, like what does a Bully with $1 billion budget look like? I don't know. Like what is it? Is it to go to college campus and they just like ream college campuses? That could be funny. That could be interesting. But like how else do you do, like they might be on a scale where they're like too big to try something that small. It'd be very, very different. But anyway, there you go. Agefield High. It doesn't look like it's actually going to be the Bully successor we were hoping for, but you never know. Rockstar might circle back to it, which would be pretty cool. Can we talk about Kingdom Come? Yes, we probably should. Let me say these. Yes, because if people missed it, there is news with that. Yes, we will talk about that. Real quick. Titan Gaming, thank you for the membership right before we started. Thank you for that. 6 months. Ooh, baby. Hey, Luke, I want to get into YouTube, but I would like to know how to stay consistent. Been challenged with projects that turn out bigger than realized. It is tricky. The big thing is you just, I think it's incredibly important to put self-imposed deadlines on yourself, even though it doesn't really matter. Do it for yourself. Because when you run out of time, you don't have time to get writer's block. You don't have time to be a perfectionist. You just have to figure out how to make content. So put a strong deadline and say, I have to get this video out by the 1st of next month. Full stop. If it's like 3-4 days out and I'm not quite ready, or I want to add in a section, okay, break the video into 2 parts. Figure out a way to get it done. Like, that's what you got to do. You just have to start setting deadlines, because once you set deadlines, you have a standard to adhere to, and you will have to get better and more efficient to meet that standard. But you have to do that to yourself. Like, nobody else can do it for you. And once you do that, I mean, you can achieve crazy things, but it's like working out or any sort of like exercise. You have to train yourself up to that point. You're like, we can throw together an hour-long video and 5 TikToks and everything in a day. Most teams can't do that, but it's because we have worked very hard to get our systems and our process and our pipeline for making videos and clips and stuff ironed out to that degree. But it was a journey. A year ago, we wouldn't be able to do that. 2 years ago, definitely not. So it's about growing and getting there. But I would definitely say to put those deadlines on yourself, to force yourself to get better in that way. Let's see. Okay, read that one. Melissa, I think for 17 months. Luke, you're mogging. Are your runs going well? I feel so old. What does mogging mean? Do I dare Google that? What does mogging mean? It sounds dirty. What does mogging mean for old people? It's internet slang that means outshining, outperforming, or dominating another person, usually in terms of physical appearance or attractiveness. The term comes from AMOG, which is an acronym for alpha male of the group. Who knew? Who knew? Well, first of all, thank you. Second of all, I've told you guys about this before. My like secret sauce. Everybody's different. Okay, everybody's different. Do your own thing. But I'm gonna say it. The middle-aged moms were right. Okay. Orange theory works. Okay. Kicks your ass, but it works. Okay. Every time we walked by, I always thought, like, you go in there, you see them, and it's you know, people that just left yoga and they go straight in there to do their thing. But bro, Orange Theory will kick your ass. It's awesome. Okay. Do it. There's not a lot of guys in there, but it works. It works. Okay. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. And if not this, find something else that does a lot of like high intensity interval training. It'll kick your ass, but it's good. I used to have to go on a single mile run. I had to like have an inhaler, and I was walking for like half of it. But now, after doing Orange Theory for like a year and a half, 2 years, I don't have to deal with any of that, like at all, full stop. I don't need an inhaler anymore. I can run a mile without like feeling that tightness. Like, it basically trained me out of my asthma attacks that I used to get all the time. It's wild. What is it? It's high intensity interval training. So like, for example, you'll do a bunch of cycles. So you might do like, it's like a 3G is what they call it. It's like a 3 round. So you might do 20 minutes on the treadmill, going from like a sprint to walking for a minute, a sprint for 2 minutes, or for 1 minute, walk for a minute. Or it might be like a push run for 2 minutes, walking for a minute. Like, they'll do these push and pulls, which get your heart rate to spike and then calm down. Heart rate to spike and then calm down. And it trains your heart to like be able to catch up, basically. And then after you do that, you move to the rowers and you do 20 minutes of rowing, and you got to do 2,000 meters within a certain time frame. So it's also like high intensity cardio. And then you move over, you'll do weights and stuff. And it's like a lot of body weight stuff, calisthenics, push-ups, presses, things like that. Really good. Not for the faint of heart, but their unique thing is that they use heart rate sensors that you wear on your arm. And when you go to like hop on the treadmill or the rowers or whatever, it senses that your heart rate monitor is next to it. And so you like log into that treadmill, and then it will show you where your heart rate is at this precise moment based on the workout. So if it's like, hey, this is a push, your heart rate needs to be in the orange zone. So you need to be like in this BPM range, it's detecting that, and you see it on your screen so that you can crank up the speed if you need to or whatever. It's pretty baller. It's pretty baller, but it kicked my ass at first. But yeah, that's the secret sauce. That and trying to get away from like really, really sugary drinks. I drink my calories. It's why these things are great, because they have like 35 calories. Huel, do recommend. But yeah, those are the great things. Now I have to order sugar-free drinks. Ugh. Sugar-free. It's terrible. Some places are better at them than others, but yeah, that's the thing. I drink my sauce. I drink my my calories. It's bad. I thought I was picking up his candle. Yeah, I have to get rid of sugar, so that's why I switched to Yankee candles. Yeah, just trying to be health conscious, you know. No, guys, no. You're acting like I'm crazy. It's pumpkin. It's healthy. It's pumpkin spice. It's okay. Get them as a sponsor. The candles are Huel. Huel has sponsored. Huel sponsored us, and it actually was the reason I tried these things at first. And I liked them so much, I signed up for a subscription. Now I have, there's 24 in a pack. I think I have 6 packs upstairs. So whatever that is, 24 times 6. I have like 144 cans of this upstairs because I forgot to pause my subscription. So I started putting the boxes that they would send me. I started putting them in one of the cabinets in the kitchen in the corner that Nikki doesn't look in very often. And I don't think she knows how much is actually in there. So I'm not going to tell her. I'm just occasionally I refill the fridge from there. But yeah, I have a lot. I have a lot. It's kind of a problem. It's the same thing. Like that whole row down there is full of candles because I buy them in bulk when they go on sale. I'm not crazy. You think I'm buying these candles at full price? No. What you do, and then I swear to God, we'll talk about games again. What you do if you want the really nice fall scents is that you wait until January and they put these things like 70% off. Duh. Yes, please. You do that. You order a crap ton of them and then you have them ready for the fall. It's not like these things go bad. You know, they're fine. You literally burn them. Okay. It's fine. And so I always order the next season's candles ahead of time once the previous season has gone on clearance. So I have my summer scents upstairs and then I have all the fall scents down here. Luke's a boomer. Luke's a boomer lesbian. I wish I could say that's the first time I've heard that accusation. I wish I could say that, but if I had a nickel, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about this, okay? Whoa, oh, I should do this. New segment. Oh, Kingdom Come Salvation. Guys, it dropped. Gematsu has a story. Warhorse Studios trademarks Kingdom Come Salvation. It's happening. This was filed on July 23rd in Europe specifically, okay? The European Union Intellectual Property Office. And they actually filed it, Kingdom Come Salvation, as you can see. This is all they filed as far as I'm aware. I believe this logo is like a fan creation. It's not like official, but they did file the trademark for that title. Now, I love the guys at Warhorse. I do not have secret information. I don't want people to think that like I'm secretly leaking something or whatever. I am going to speak from the perspective of somebody who is a big fan of these games and of this. Okay, so I just want to be clear about that before we get too deep into this, okay? So Toby, don't be mad at me, okay? I'm speculating. What do we know? We know that Warhorse has announced that they are, of course, doing FanFest this year once more. So if you don't know, FanFest is the thing that they're doing now. I hope they continue to do it every year, but they are doing a FanFest celebration at Fort Malashov in the Czech Republic in just outside Prague. It's like 40 minutes outside Prague. I went last year and I'll be going again. I'll be there again. Okay. And yes, I will be asking them about all of this and I want answers, but they're doing FanFest again. Last year at FanFest, they revealed to everybody in attendance early, before anybody else had seen it, the trailer for the big DLC. I believe it was the Forge, Hero of the Forge DLC. Or Legend of the Forge, whatever. But they shared that trailer early with everybody in attendance there. My sneaking suspicion is that they are filing this trademark because they may have a trailer or a sneak peek at whatever the next Kingdom Come game is ready for FanFest. I don't have secret information. They've not told me anything. I just think it makes sense. Okay? They're filing this in July. FanFest is in August. You know, starts to line up. I call it a hunch. Call it a hunch. But this also is not that surprising given what else we saw with the reveals of what they're doing. If you missed it, it was let's look up Warhorse. Oh, they revealed on social media, of course, previously that they were working on 2 games. And these 2 games were a new Kingdom Come adventure and then an open world Middle-earth RPG. Both incredibly exciting. I mean, it went super viral. People are thrilled by this idea. The Kingdom Come adventure, though, this is what was phrased here. It's not a Kingdom Come Deliverance adventure. It's Kingdom Come adventure. My understanding of the titling of Kingdom Come Deliverance is that Deliverance is effectively like it's Henry's story. This would suggest to me that this is probably like a spin-off, maybe a prequel. People have said maybe Godfrey, maybe this character, that character, who knows, but probably a spin-off or a prequel, or it could be a game set after the events of the Kingdom Come Deliverance series or duology, whatever. And it sets up like the Hussite Wars or something, who knows. Okay. But I do think that this lines up very, very well. I am very, very excited. I think this is going to be awesome. I'm thrilled to see what they are cooking up. And yeah, I'm here for it. It's a good name, Kingdom Come Salvation. It just makes sense. But I'm mainly curious what form this takes, because this is expected, I believe, in like as most likely in Q1 of 2027. Because they said by the end of next fiscal year, I believe is what they said, which would time out to roughly that time frame. But like sometime in 2027, which is very exciting. Very, very exciting. It might be early 2028. I'd have to see. Hold on. Let me maybe I can find it. Hold on. Let me double check. Let me double check the timelines because I don't want to get that wrong. It's been a minute. Warhorse Kingdom Come. Yeah, so 2027 at some point. Warhorse Studios has confirmed new Kingdom Come adventure is coming between April of 27 and March of 28. Okay. This is why we double check in Google. So April of 27 to March of 28, because it was next fiscal year. Because we're currently in fiscal year 2026. Next fiscal year would be April of 27 through March of 28. Yes, okay, we're tracking. So I'm excited. I'm really thrilled by this. The fact that we could get it in most likely Q1 of 2028, maybe late 27, but I think Q1 of 2028 would line up pretty well, give them plenty of time, and it would release in the same window as the previous game. But it's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting, man. I'm excited. 2 years for a big RPG is impossible. Well, given that this is kind of expected to be probably more of a spin-off, I'm expecting something a little tighter and smaller. I'm not expecting, 100 hours, which is okay. I also am expecting that they don't need to do all of the technical overhauling that they had to do for KCD2 from KCD1. They had a lot of technical work to take care of in that time. They don't really need to do that. Like if they launch another Kingdom Come game, Kingdom Come Salvation, and it's just literally 1-to-1 in the same tool set and same engine and everything as KCD2, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. That sounds good. It ran great, looked great. They don't need to overhaul anything as far as I'm concerned. It's also important to acknowledge, yeah, I think you raised a good point. They did say, as Rat Clown says, it says adventure, not RPG. It's true. It's true. They have framed this in that post. They framed it as a new Kingdom Come Adventure, but then at the same time, they specify RPG on the right side for the Middle Earth game. So this could be more of a linear thing. Maybe that's how they're saving time. Because if you're, as I inhale my own throat, if you're not familiar, like the kind of big event that's casting a shadow over all of the Kingdom Come games is the Hussite Wars. The Hussite Wars are it's a real historical event, okay? It's kind of a big deal in the Czech Republic and in Prague. It's kind of like the central thing. So this is like a big deal. And as with any game that tackles real historical events, that it's kind of hard to do an RPG where you're choosing outcomes and consequences, because you do need to railroad some stuff to keep it on in line with the historical record. So they could do more of a linear thing, setting up the Hussite Wars, and maybe it sets up whatever Kingdom Come Deliverance 3 is, where Henry comes back and fights in the Hussite Wars or something, or his son does or something. There's all sorts of stuff that they could do, but this is, I think, one of those things that could potentially be explored in this spin-off game, is maybe setting the stage for this, where you are going through the early days and what leads up to those wars. I don't know, but it could be cool. It could be cool. We'll see. It's going to be a side scroller. Who knows? Who knows? Either way, I know that Warhorse, I'm there for it. Okay, I'm there for it. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed, though. We should hear about it relatively soon. It is possible, looking at this, that it could be just something totally out of left field that we just don't even see coming. It could be something totally different. I don't know. But either way, I'm hoping we find out soon enough. We'll find out soon enough. Knights Templar. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. There's so many things they could do with it. I'm so excited. Caleb, thank you for 25 months. If you have asthma, you just need to train better and not be lazy. Luke Stevens, 2026. Yeah, you just need to suck it up. Asthma's fake news. Yeah. Omni, thank you for the 5. My wife did Orange Theory. She came home exhausted. She loved it. It works, dude. I understand it can be expensive. It's not for everybody. Some people don't like group classes and stuff. That's totally fine. But for me, it worked, because I'm one of those guys where I kind of need the accountability. Like I schedule the class. I need to go do the class. If it's just okay, I got to go hop on the treadmill and I just have to force myself to run for 45 minutes, I struggle with that. But if I have a class scheduled and I know the coach is going to tease me for not coming to the class if I skip it this day or this week, it helps me, Peer pressure works, my friends. Alex, thank you for the 5. Hey, Luke, happy Friday. With PSN down for hours, not being able to access your digital games is another sign of why all digital future is bad. Yeah, I mean, it's really quite poetic when you think about it, that as they're pushing for all this, they have another outage. It really is poetic. It's beautiful in a way. Stupid, but beautiful. Very stupid. Real quick, let me mention this. Let me see this. Okay. They said on Twitter, both games are an RPG. Okay. Boom. See, I did a video covering all this. It's been a month or two. So I'm not fresh up on it. Because this news broke right as we went live. So I appreciate the clarification, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Let's see. Let's see. Price per can. Oh, price per can of these. I think it ends up being, when you order not a 4-pack, but when you order a lot, I think it ends up being $1.70 a can or something. about, I think is roughly what it comes out to. Yeah, not bad. Especially if you're trying to get yourself off of coffee or like Starbucks or something where you're spending nowadays, God, like $15 for a coffee. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Real quick, this is just a small little tidbit. This is kind of crazy, but this Ubisoft just had their first quarter sales report that dropped out. And what they mentioned was that they actually sold so far 3.5 million copies to date, and they have already passed their annual expectation in the first 2 weeks. So they expected to sell maybe 3 million in a year. They did not expect 3.5 million in 2 weeks. Like, it has crushed their expectations, okay? Like, remember with AC Shadows, they were like, yeah, so it's performing roughly in line with our projections and estimated sales and all that. Like, it did what they expected it to do. This, like, totally blew them away. They sold their expected volume for a year in 2 weeks. That's outrageous. That's crazy. That's crazy. Absolutely wild. But this is why they're going to be greenlighting more remakes and stuff for sure. For sure. Do you guys want to see something really stupid? I'm going to make you watch. There's nothing you can do about it. Can you ask Warhorse if they have access to the Nemesis system for the Lord of the Rings game? I can. I highly doubt it, because Warner Brothers owns that patent. The IP of Lord of the Rings is now owned by Embracer Group. So they own the IP, they don't own the patent, which are two separate things. But yeah. Let's see. Let's talk about this real quick. Okay. So, new mini segment. So everybody, I went down the rabbit hole of utter insanity as it pertains to GTA 6, and you know what? It is confirmed for me that GTA 6 AI generated videos are getting out of control. Some of them are done under the guise of like, oh, let's explore this feature a little bit. Some of them are patently absurd and are starting to be spread around like they're actual gameplay leaks. I'm starting to really wonder if there's going to be a moment when like the game drops where people are playing it and realize that it doesn't feature some of these insane AI generated features, and then they get disappointed and then like get upset about it. Because like, look at some of this stuff. Okay, this is nobody should encourage any of this, but it's stupid and I want to show you, and we can all collectively laugh and mock it. This one, this is what surfing could look like in GTA 6. This has 13 million views. And yes, most people will understand that this is AI generated. A lot of people won't, which is sad, but that's just how it is. This is what they generated. And then they're like, see, this is what it could look like. For one, why is the map showing rows? Whatever. You can't think about it too much or it'll just break your brain and depress you. But this is what they're doing, is they're having AI generate fake gameplay videos. And then they're getting excited and hyped based on the gameplay videos. As far as I'm aware, surfing is not confirmed to even be in the game. Like, what? People are just assuming because it has beaches that it'll have surfing. Maybe it will. I don't know. But, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Furthermore, this one, Ox Annie. You'd swear this is leaked GTA 6 gameplay. The HUD, the Vice City water, the drink beer prompt, it's AI. No console, no capture card, no leak. One account posted stuff like this for 3 weeks and hit 6.2 million views on a single post. 4 cents an image, and the comments still argue whether Rockstar's mad. The full playbook. How cringe is this? They're like, they're teaching people how to use AI tools to make fake gameplay clips so that you can go viral on Twitter and then get paid out, because Twitter pays out based on impressions and everything. There is a whole secondary market incentivizing fake gameplay and fake AI generated videos to spread online to hype up 12-year-olds to farm ad revenue. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like ridiculous. Like, this one at least looks better than the last one. but like none of this is real. It's all fake. It's all imaginary. And people are like using it to get hyped, and they're spreading it. And like I said, I mean, this is somebody literally selling a course, selling a course to try and get people to use their AI tools to crank out these clips. And if you've not gone down the rabbit hole of that stuff, they have different AI tools and like pipelines that will do this stuff automatically. So you give it access and rights to sign into your Twitter account. They will like generate the fake gameplay screenshot, use that as a starting point to generate an AI video. They'll search on the social media network to find what trending like questions or hyped potential features in GTA 6 people want. And then they use those as key points in the prompt to like generate these fake gameplay videos. And then they automatically post it. So basically somebody just gives the AI whatever credits, and then they hit run, and it just all day and night will pump out tons of fake crap, hoping that one of them pops off. It's sad. It's sad. Starscreen Reeve, thank you for the 5. YouTube poop has evolved with fake gameplay. Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. This is something people actually did. So again, this is another person giving a tutorial on how to do this. Apparently, I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why. Apparently, one of the places where these clips are going viral the most is in India. So people have started taking these videos and generating AI versions of what GTA 6 would look like if it had an India DLC, I guess, is what they're trying to do. I don't fully understand it, but they're generating this and then like spreading this, and like they're getting these video clips to go viral in India because people think that they're going to be doing like, I guess an India DLC or something or whatever. Like, what? What is happening? What is happening? Like, for one, it looks to be like an amalgamation of every stereotype of like traveling in India I've ever seen. And then it's just like, but apparently it's going viral in India. Who knew? There's more. You thought I was done? No, I have another one. Another one. This one also is another one made by, I think, the same team. I don't understand why these are specifically going viral in India, but they apparently are. And this is where a lot of the effort is being put, is in these clips. So there's that one. There's that one. This is another one where, like, as if this is something. AI GTA 6 gameplay. They just have it generate fake gameplay. And then even though this person is saying this is AI generated, people are clipping this and then they go and they spread it on Twitter or TikTok or whatever. And people think that this is like actual leaked gameplay footage. Even though it's not. Even if the first person says, no, this is AI generated, it spreads to the 12-year-olds and then it's too late. And then you're screwed. Then you're screwed. And dude, this is just a sampling, okay? These are just some of the quick, easy clips that I found, okay? GTA 6 surfing gameplay leaked? Nah, it's AI. This is what they're spreading, okay? I don't envy Rockstar dealing with this stuff. And bear in mind, like, you got to remember, they've said basically nothing. And I honestly, maybe put in chat your opinion. Do you think them being more transparent and showing like a gameplay trailer would fix this, or would it just make it worse? Like, do you think people would then just go and have more training data to make the leaks look more realistic? Like, or the fake AI leaks look more realistic? Because Rockstar has had an approach where they just share basically nothing, because I think part of the strategy is that it's really easy to confirm what is real and what is not. Like, you can go and watch the 2 trailers that are out and look at the screen capture or the screenshots, and that is everything that is out there. That's everything that's real. So a well-informed consumer can conclude this is fake. This is nonsense. Because this video, yeah, he put the prompt and said in the title, this is AI. This exact video has been clipped and shared on TikTok without that, saying leaked GTA 6 surfing gameplay. Spreading false information. Surfing may not even be in the game. But there are people that think this is like gameplay. And then they're going to buy the game and be like pissed that it didn't match the AI generated video. It's sad, but that's where we are. I personally think probably the best bet. I still, of course, want a gameplay trailer or something before launch, but I do not blame them for being radio silent and super, super careful with what's shown and where. Because yes, I think to a certain extent, there is no escaping it. Like, you're going to have people making fake gameplay, making AI generated videos and taking advantage of the naive and gullible. That's going to happen no matter what. There's no getting away from it. Whether they share more gameplay early or later, there's no dealing with it. It's just, that's what it is going to be. So rather, you have to try and specifically give information to the non-12-year-olds, like to the people who can think more critically and see this and go, this wasn't in the gameplay trailer. This is fake. Those people, yeah, no, you don't have to deal with it. If this were for like a Ubisoft game and they had 15,000 videos of gameplay snippets everywhere, you might fall for it because you're like, oh, well, this looks like that gameplay and it could be real. It could not be, I don't know. But because there's only 2 trailers out there, it's really easy to confirm whether or not this is real or whether or not this is official, which I think makes sense. And, those are all, I think, pretty easy to conclude. There are some, though, that have gone around that are generated using leaked screenshots of like actual leaked gameplay snippets. And then they go and break it down further from there to generate the fake gameplay. So like, as far as I'm aware, I believe one of these snippets was used from an actual leaked gameplay like thing. They basically took one of the leaks from like 2021. They took that, tweaked it a little bit in Photoshop, upload that to one of these AI video generation tools, and then has it basically put it in motion. And you can tell, you'll see this will snap right here in just a second. See? So you can still tell, dare I say, especially here you can start to see. But like these are only going to get better as time goes by and as people start to get more gameplay snippets to feed into it to generate these videos. So lesson learned, don't believe what you see on the internet, I guess is the main takeaway. But I do think this creates a fascinating problem and question for like marketing games in the modern day, because you are just going to be dealing with a ton of fake gameplay that then people go and get upset about. It's stupid, but that's where we are. Yeah, a lot of it is easy to decipher, but some of it, dude, it's still fooling people. It's still fooling people. This one is like one of the most painfully fake ones that I came across. And it's literally a 10-minute video where they label it as being made with AI, but I have seen these clips in some of these GTA 6 videos that people have been putting out where they are claiming that this is like actual gameplay. What in the DLSS 5 is this? Like what? What are we even doing? This video has 10,000 views. Now that's not a ton, but when you crank out 1,500 of these things with an AI tool, like that's still a decent chunk of change, you know? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Jesus Christ. It's, the demo that likes these videos. You just know. You just know. So there you go. There you go. It is utterly outrageous. And I think that it is sad and depressing. Tools like Community Notes they're helping because they can at least flag stuff as fake. But I think other platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, they need to be much better and much more robust with those things to flag that content across the board. Because again, one person may make the video, post it and say, this is AI. The problem comes from the people that then clip that and run with it and then subsequently go and are spreading it like wildfire, pointing out that, oh no, this is leaked. It's totally leaked. And then you end up with thousands of people believing something that's not real. It's a problem. Take-Two started to take down the AI generated GTA 6 videos. Well, yeah, and that I think honestly is one of those legal questions that I'm not sure about, because on the one hand, I do think that it's a public service to remove that stuff so that consumers don't get fooled. In the same way that like, if you start spreading false information about products or about food or about medicine or something, that not only will affect the business, but it could also affect the individuals, you know, that are going to suffer from the false information, maybe be taken advantage of it in one way or another. So there's a protection there, but I don't think there's a lot of super robust tools for them to do it. And then that opens up like a kind of scary door where it's like, okay, well, if we're going to allow companies to strike down videos that they think could lead to false expectations for their games, like, then would you expect like Elder Scrolls 6 hype videos to get struck by Bethesda because it gets people too hyped? You know, like at what point do you draw the line? I don't know. You know, it's tricky. No, go back to the beach clip. I closed it. Was it the lady that was like clipping into her own head? Hold on. There was one here. Or are you just thirsty? I think you're just thirsty. Is this the one you wanted to look at? You dog. You dog. See, I was thinking you wanted to look at, where is it? It was back, I thought it was back here. There was one on the beach where like they're warping into themselves. Oh no, it was right here. Like if you look, hold on, enhance. Watch like these characters back here, because they just start to like warp and fuse with each other. Like, okay, forward a little bit. Forward. Like, look at that arm just disappearing and like reappearing. Like, what even is that? Like, again, if you know what you're looking for, you can see this. And like nothing is lining up. It doesn't make any sense. But again, they're relying, and this stuff really causes a problem on like, I think more than anything, I think it causes a problem on short form, because somebody scrolls and then they never see it again. Like, and the person doesn't suffer any consequences of it. But that's what they rely on, frankly. They're relying on that. Okay. Delete group. Okay. They're just flexible. Let's see. I think they're gearing up for the next marketing push. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to have some marketing and they're going to do it at some point. I think August is probably when they are going to drop another trailer, and then they'll mainly do most of the marketing, I think, in like October, the month before. They just don't need to do a long protracted thing. Like, most of the reason that companies do like a year-long marketing cycle before their game comes out is to get it on wish lists, to get people following their social media accounts, so that when they drop trailers, when they drop pre-order information, everybody's paying attention. They already have that. Like, they're good, you know? So they really don't need to deal with a lot of those headaches and laying the groundwork, because the groundwork has been laid for 15 years, you know? That they just don't need to do it. So if I can't surf on top of a shark while shooting bad guys on a boat and then jump off said shark onto boat and hijack, then no, bye. Being sarcastic. Says Christopher Burnett with a 5. Thank you. I mean, that sounds reasonable to me. I saw a video where you could do that. They wouldn't just make up the video. So there you go. Wish list. Haven't we all pre-ordered already? I'm gonna be real. I do not understand why you would pre-order something like 6 months in advance. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm old school. Maybe that's my problem. But like, the game's not going anywhere. It's not like they're going to run out of digital copies. You know, you can pre-order it the day before. Like, I just don't understand. I feel like I'm missing a piece of the puzzle. There is a pre-order bonus, so there's that. But that's what I'm saying is, like, if you still want the pre-order bonus, you can wait till reviews drop, or you can wait until the week before and then do it. Like, I just don't really understand why people are pre-ordering 6 months in advance. Like, especially, like, some people said, well, I just want to put the money aside so that I don't have to worry about having the money ready. So, like, okay, maybe if you struggle with budgeting, you already set the money aside now, you want to do that. But a lot of these stores don't charge you until the game releases. Like, they might take a deposit of like $5. A lot of them don't even do that. It's like, I just don't understand. I just don't get it. I feel like I'm missing a piece of the puzzle. I'm missing out. There are 0 people waiting for GTA 6 reviews. Yeah, I mean, they may not even do traditional reviews, which is wild, but I think if any game could get away with it, it's this one. Because they don't want to deal with leaks, you know? Sony does? Okay, well, there's that. So Sony takes the full amount, they charge you up front. Okay. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Real quick, let's look at this. Let's look at this, okay? Let's look at this. New segment. Okay, fam. Do you guys remember a little thing called DLSS 5? Does that ring a bell? You know, that thing that they revealed that was received so ridiculously negatively that they had to frantically initially try to defend it and say that gamers were being unreasonable. But then they kind of just disappeared, went in a hole, and stopped talking about it for months. Well, a lot of people have been wondering, what are they going to do with it? They've invested God knows how much money into this. They were framing this as the next frontier of gaming, okay? Which is kind of crazy to think that they pitched it that way. Like, they were framing this as like the revolution that we saw with like ray tracing, okay? The same type of energy that then dictated the next 5 years of hardware releases, of software releases. Every game was all focused on what hardware or what ray tracing they could do in their games. But they were doing it with this. And it was received so negatively, they disappeared for months. Well, they're back. They're back, okay? And they are taking a slightly different approach to how they frame it. Now, I think they're being cautious with this. They're trying to kind of feel out people's reactions to it and figure out how they're going to do this. Because I hate to break it to you, they're not going to scrap it, okay? You're gonna download it, you're gonna like it, okay? That's what they're doing here. Companies and like studios may be hesitant to market with it. I brought up, I remember when this initially dropped, I was saying how, like, I don't know what this does for marketing games, you know, because the difference between DLSS like screen grabs and the real game screen grabs are so severe. What happens if you get the game trailer that looks like this, but then you download the game and it looks like this because your hardware isn't supporting DLSS 5. You don't have a 50 series, you know? It creates a lot of serious questions over like whether you can actually do that. Like, are you going to market with DLSS 5 turned on or what? Because these look like 2 different games. You know, like that's kind of a big deal. Especially like it's really severe in like the Starfield examples where it's like, okay, yep, that's Bethesda. What is that? Oh my God. You know, like I wouldn't be surprised. Elder Scrolls 6 uses DLSS 5 in all the trailers because it makes it look better. Sorry, I gotta be specific. What are they doing though? Well, at the SIGGRAPH 2026 event in Los Angeles, they had an individual by the name of Edward Liu and Gabriel Leon. They went on stage and they talked a little bit about all of this, and they showed some of the new tools and some of what they're doing with it. And I figured we could look at it because I think it gives us insight into what they're going to try to do and where they're going with all of this. Because again, they're just going to try to relaunch it here, you know, in the near future. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, they do another big push with this. I think they genuinely had no idea it would be received the way that it was. I think they were genuinely shocked that people didn't like it. Which is kind of hilarious. It shows you the bubble that they were in. You know, it's always very fascinating to me when a company does something like that and then they're shell shocked by the reaction. Just like you remember the Blizzard thing where Diablo Immortal, you all have phones, don't you? Like they were genuinely shocked that people were not happy, but it's because they were so in their bubble that they thought, you know, they're talking around the conference table and everybody's like, well, yeah, it's Diablo, but you can play it anywhere. And they just had totally memory holed the fact that they were like, pumping it full of microtransactions and loot boxes and all this crap. And I don't know if they did loot boxes, but you get what I mean, like MTX and everything. It was amazing that they didn't see that coming. And this was another case like that. But let's hear what they have to say.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Jensen, for the introduction. Well, the history of graphics film is always awesome to watch. I never get tired of watching it. And you know what? A lot of it actually started right here as SIGGRAPH paper. Well,
so to be clear, this is the director of applied deep learning research at NVIDIA, Edward Liu. Way smarter than all of us combined, I'm sure. But as with all of these topics that we're going to look at and go through, just because something is technologically impressive does not mean that you have to like it as a product. Just because something is impressive on a raw accomplishment level does not mean that it's something you want. Like I can appreciate that, like, oh my God, prime example. I'm going to vent for a second. I love Old Town Fort Collins. Okay. It's my hometown, went to college there. I love it. I have never had a single good cup of coffee in that entire city. And it's just frankly because they try too hard, okay? You go to this coffee shop and they're like, oh yes, this is our coffee that's brewed from beans that we actually harvested. And then we flew them on a plane here. But we didn't fly because we didn't want the emissions. So we brought it on a rowboat and then we roasted it using the fire of a hickory tree. And then we let it sun. And while it sun, it sat in the sun to kind of warm up the beans. We played Celtic songs and then also songs from the Sahara to give it a good cultural diversity. And we did and they go through this long list of all these well-intentioned, beautiful, fanciful things they did to the coffee. And then you taste it and it tastes like you're licking an armpit. And it's like, I appreciate all that went into this, but it tastes bad. What do you want from me? It tastes bad. It sucks, okay? Like, I'd rather a Slurpee right now. Frankly, what are we doing? Like, it's ridiculous. And that's where I'm at with DLSS 5. At least, we'll see as he's going to go through this and he's going to outline how they've added a bunch of tools and stuff to make it so developers can like fine tune how it's applied. So we'll go through that in a second. But my impression of DLSS 5 after that initial reveal was that it's one of those coffees that's really impressively put together, but it still tastes like an armpit. It's like, okay, I understand that this is hand mortared mushroom powder that's been sprinkled on, and then you also sourced your own guava, and then you went and you milked the cow in the back of the shop and did it by hand. Like, I get that. It tastes bad. What do you want from me? Okay. Like, I understand that this is impressive. It doesn't mean I like it. That's where I'm at.
Today, I have only one thing for you. And I think that could be the next chapter of that film, DLSS 5. We showed just a short glimpse of it at GTC Spring this year. And at SIGGRAPH,
it was enough of a glimpse.
We get to go deeper.
Deeper.
What it is, why we built it the way we did, and why we're so excited about it. DLSS 5 goes back to Turing, which is the first GPU in which we put RT Core and Tensor Core side by side right on the same chip. And even back then...
And this is what you're going to hear as we go through this, is that they are framing this as like the next evolution of graphics rendering, okay? So they are not walking away from this.
And let me show you what that means. There's a pattern behind that film. Every once a few years, a revolutionary technology come along, and the image realism and fidelity of real-time rendering would leapfrog the previous generation.
So just to be clear, what he's showing here is each breakthrough opens a new scaling curve. So he goes back to 2001 with programmable shaders, kind of a big deal. Then unified shaders in 2006, ray tracing and DLSS in 2018. Major like breakthrough, dictated the next 7 years of rendering pipelines. And then 2025, path tracing and DLSS 4 with the 5090. What is going to go here, do you think?
And it opens a new era, a new platform, and it charted a new curve on this graph. Programmable shader was definitely one of the good examples. Suddenly, all the game artists can write program to shade every pixel. And I still vividly remember how big of a jump it is in game fidelity. And fast forward to today, we're at path tracing with DLSS 4. Fully.
If you have YouTube money and can afford a 5090, yes, you can technically path trace. But let's be honest, the vast majority of gamers are still back here begrudgingly. Okay, like I understand ray tracing's impressive. I get it. For I think the average PC gamer, if they have the option to turn it off, a lot of them do. It's like niche or anecdotal rather. It's anecdotal. Most of my friends, if they're playing like a shooter or if they're playing a game and they have the option between 200 FPS or 45 with no ray tracing, with ray tracing, they're going to choose the 200 FPS with no ray tracing because like, yeah, the reflections are shinier, but I'd rather 200 FPS, you know?
Simulated lights at real-time frame rate. But look at the top. We're still not there yet. We're still not at indistinguishable from reality in real-time rendering. So where does the next curve come from? Let's start with what we know.
DLSS 5, baby. That's where they see it coming from. Okay, so again, if you think that they are walking away from this, or that some people, I remember seeing videos where people are like, oh, I think that they're going to can DLSS 5 and they're going to walk away from it and they're just going to pretend like it never happened. Nope.
Traditional graphics build images from first principles. We author the scene, we simulate the light bouncing inside of it using physics, and then we frame it with a camera that we control down to the accuracy of a millimeter. That's rendering. Every pixel is there because somebody wants it to be there. And while we're doing that, something else happened. Generative models learn photorealism. Once we feed those models enough of the real world, eventually they learn how skin would scatter light, how the hair would glow if they're backlit, or how the glass would bend the world around them. But those generative models are slow and giant, and they're not as easily controllable as rendering can. So wouldn't it be great if there's a way that we can get the best of both worlds?
Bear in mind, when DLSS 5 was first revealed and everybody said, it looks like AI slop. It looks like you're doing generative AI over top of the game. And like, no, that's not what it is. This is exactly what it is. I mean, it's literally exactly what he's describing. It's like, that's literally what it is. Like you're going to see as he goes through this. It's like, we have the best of both worlds. We're going to render a base layer basically, and then go over top of it with the generative AI stuff. So it is what we said it was. Okay.
And with that question in mind, we set out to seek the next leap in image fidelity for real-time rendering. And this is what we ended up doing. The renderer keeps building the world exactly as the game has authored it, and the generation becomes the learned stage afterwards to enrich its appearance. So learned generation defines the world.
Also, RKFU Gaming. That's it. I think that's it. Thank you for the sub, my friend. Appreciate you.
And generation enriches the appearance. That's the core intuition behind DLSS 5.
Okay.
And I can describe that all day, but this is SIGGRAPH, so let's roll this reel.
Honestly, I think the environments look good. It gets uncanny when you swap to the faces. And my suspicion for why this is, for one, it looks like the AI slop filter because I mean it's trained on like professional photographers. It's not trained on an actual man from centuries ago. It's trained on like professionally taken photos, you know, so there's a grit that's lost. It's why people have said everything looks too pretty, you know, when AI generates it. And I think that that's a fair complaint. But when you're looking at like the environment around him, as we look at like some of these snippets, like the lighting does instantly look better. It looks more realistic. And I like the jump, you know, you can tell that it's doing a pass to make, especially when it comes to like the individual shadows and stuff, it looks like a jump, you know, it does. But is that necessarily what people will like? I don't know. It does make the lighting look more realistic. It does do another pass on that, but that also removes some of the style that's involved. But I think if this is all DLSS 5 did, I don't think people would be that upset about it. The problem is when you do a pass on humans, it goes straight into that uncanny valley. And one of the things and reasons why I don't think you can do that as casually, like in that shot, you see somebody that looks like a character in a game. Like your brain registers it as not real. It's fine. Once it goes over with the like AI filter, it gets uncanny because the animation doesn't match the fidelity of like the skin, right? So like you're expecting all of the little micro motions and movements of the eyebrows and the skin and the hair moving and the, you know, the beard shifting under the weight of the skin moving and everything. But you don't get that because it's not simulating that level of fidelity. It's just going over the top with that pass to make the skin lighting look a little better and stuff like that. And I don't know if there's a good solution to that other than like AI generating micro movements and stuff. It just doesn't really work. You know, it's like having a really photorealistic puppet that you can't move in a lifelike way. And so it becomes uncanny. It's literally what horror movies do. Okay. Like it's literally like one of the basic ideas of a horror movie is that you make like a photorealistic puppet of somebody and then they move in this really unnerving way. That's just what this is, but in a game.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. So everything you just saw is traditional rendering followed by DLSS 5, generating the final photoreal appearance in real time. And I think it looks great. It's a new level of realism. But looking real here is only half the problem. The other half is staying true to the original content.
This is the new talking point, okay? This is what they took away from the reaction to the initial reveal. Because what most people said, and I would argue rightly so, is that this looks like a different game. This doesn't even look real. Like it doesn't look like, what are we doing? Okay. And I think that's the main frustration for a lot of people is like, this is Starfield for better or worse. I don't know what this is. This looks like, again, one of those AI generated fan trailers that's like fake. We just looked at earlier on stream for GTA 6 clips. Like it just doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right. Same with this, like the original design of Grace. Like, and then you move forward and you're like, who's that? It doesn't even really look like her. You know? And so people's reaction to this was very forceful, that they felt like it wasn't true to the original artist's vision. And this was also made all the worse by a kind of hilarious blunder that they made, NVIDIA in partnership with each of these companies, because people at Capcom came out after the reveal of DLSS 5 and said that they were not informed that this was being shown off or implemented into the game. People that worked on it had no idea. Same with BGS. Apparently Todd just said, no, we're going to do this. Yeah. And then they had a couple of engineers working on it. They showed it off. But people within BGS, apparently, when they saw this stuff, they were like, what? What is this? People within BGS were shell-shocked and didn't know what it was. So it literally was not true to the artist's vision. It was true to like Todd, the executive producer's vision, because I'm sure there's a fat stack that comes with working with NVIDIA. But like, what is this? It doesn't even look the same anymore. So now NVIDIA's reaction in response to that is to try and market it as you can be totally true to the artist's vision. That's how they're going to sell it.
And that is tricky because all the generative models are probabilistics. You can ask it for a portrait of a merchant at sunset, you get a gorgeous merchant. And you ask again, you get a different merchant. Well, if you ask for 10 times, you get 10 different merchants.
We even saw this effect in some of those DLSS 5 screenshots that they put up on their website. I think they got taken down. But there were the ones of Grace where in one shot, she looks just like beautified. But then in the next shot, she looks much closer to her original character model and what you would see in cutscenes. And then in the next shot, it looks like she straight up has like added eyeshadow and lipstick on. It doesn't even look like the same person anymore, or same like sequence. It looks like she's taking a break to go get, you know, dolled up. And so I feel like you're already, like you're seeing this even in the demos that they've put forward.
And generally the field is steering these generative models with various abstract signals, like text prompts, reference images, 3D proxies, or even storyboards. And by the way, this is a really fast-moving research area that is really fascinating to follow. And they all work. It's just that every one of them still leaves a lot of the room for the model to improvise. And that is totally fine for offline generation. But for real-time rendering, we don't get to pick. Whatever the model generates will get presented to the viewer in the right next frame. So we need some condition that is more constrained and rigorous.
I mean, he did just say whatever the model generates gets presented the very next frame. Again, I thought it wasn't a generative model. Interesting. Interesting.
Rigorous. And you know what? There is such a signal that is hiding in plain sight. We're going to use the frame the game just rendered. It's not a prompt. It's not a reference. It's not a proxy scene. It's a renderer's own output. And it's one signal that is actually universally available across all the engines: path tracing, rasterizers, hybrid, whatever. And unlike a prompt, this is actually a very information-dense and pixel-aligned view of the current shot. And can really provide the grounding for a lot of things, like character identity, the lighting setup, the mood, the camera composition, and so on. So we took the render frame and make it more realistic. And the idea is really simple. But the moment we actually set out to build such things, it turns out to be incredibly challenging.
This, I'm going to go out on a limb here, okay? This is where I think the there is practical application in this, but it goes to show you how, like, a lot of these guys, I don't think know where to stop. Because if you can feed a model like this that's going to then tweak lighting, as we saw in the previous shots of like the environments, it can then do a pass on like foliage to correct the lighting within the foliage, within the light, or within the leaves and stuff, or within the cloth. If it's like, hey, like the bits of cloth here, what makes doing a model like this really difficult, or a render like this really difficult, is that in real life, this cloth is like sort of translucent. The sun hits it, it's going to illuminate through and then light up some of the skin on the underside of that cloth. And that's just something that a lot of, you know, traditional material pipelines and a lot of engines can't handle. They just can't do that. But you could inform that information of this material, translucency information, whatever, into the model along with the lighting semantics and all that. And then it could go in there and maybe brighten up underneath the sleeve and light that a little more accurately. And this, again, is like the first version of this model. So I'm sure later versions, by the time you hit like DLSS 6 or 7 or 8, it could actually get to the point where it's, you know, actually improving the lighting of some of those micro details. Again, I think most people's frustration isn't from environmental detail and lighting, though. It comes with the faces. That's when it immediately leaps into AI slop and like, what are we doing? It also, I think, just more generally makes everything too pretty. That's, I don't know how you fix that, to be honest. That's above my pay grade.
3 fundamental and tough research challenges immediately presented themselves. The first one, preserving the artistic intent.
Again, this is the new push. It's like, focus on how it preserves artistic intent. That's what all this is going to be doubled down on.
When we give the model a render frame, a generative model will change it. That's its whole job. But every change, it comes a chance that it will drift away from the original intent. Say the hero has a scar, and the model just don't like it, it removes it. Yeah, the image now looks cleaner, but it's the wrong character. So we drew a hard line and trained the model in a way to respect those intent. And we used some of the renderer's internal buffers, such as albedos, surface normals, and some of the lighting information to make sure the model can understand what it has to stay consistent with. And within those constraints, the model is free to enrich what sells realism. Things like better subsurface scattering, finer material responses, the light transmission across hair and foliage, even better contact shadows and better environment lighting. So the scar can pick up better skin shading, but it should never disappear. And DLSS 5 must change the image in a way that it does not change the story. That's the first challenge.
Which I agree. Now, to what extent what's being described now is what would have been described 6 months ago, we don't really know. Because 6 months ago, I think, again, they were so shell-shocked by the negative reaction that they didn't know what to do. They were like, no, it's not AI slop. What are you talking about? But like, it pretty clearly was changing this character into a 40-year-old man. You know, like it wasn't working. Whatever this is, it's not working. So the model needed a lot of adjustment. I don't know if what he's describing is this exact same model that we see applied here, in which case I think it needs more work. You know, or if they've overhauled stuff since this went so badly and since this reveal. But either way, like you're saying the right stuff. It should never change the story or intent. But also part of this, I'm just going to be real. A lot of games are developed with the devs know that this is what the game looks like when they're putting it together. So like he looks a little bit younger because like the texture quality isn't that high because the camera's not going to get that level of fidelity. So it works. Once DLSS goes in and is like, well, we're going to level up that detail. And then it adds all these micro pores and micro detail and stuff. It doesn't really work anymore. And he looks 40 years old. Same with like the Starfield thing, where it just doesn't even look like the same game anymore because like Bethesda's rendering quality for characters is nowhere near this fidelity. If it's adding a little bit of detail or tweaking a little bit of stuff, it's less noticeable. And I think then people would be less pissed and it wouldn't be so jarring. But they're overhauling so much that it's really, really jarring. But anyway, continuing.
And challenge number 2,
Yassified,
temporal streaming. Most video generators work in chunks. They reason across multiple frames and they generate a batch of frames at once. But with real-time render, we don't get to do that again because it has to respond to the user input immediately and present and render frame by frame. But luckily, when we're working within the game engine, we do have access to things like motion vectors, and all the DLSS have been using them from day one. They can just tell the model how things are moving across adjacent frames, and the model does not need to infer across pixels and frames to figure out what the motion is. And thanks to that and other things, we managed to make DLSS 5 run causally and frame by frame, one frame in, one frame out, and it does not need to peek ahead, and it remains temporally stable and coherent while doing so. No shimmer, no drifting, no swimming. And challenge number 3, speed. A 4K frame is made of about 8 million pixels. And when we're rendering at larger than 60 FPS, we get really less than 16 milliseconds. And most of that is used by the game itself. So like I said, the foundational model that can generate those photoreal appearances are large and slow, and they can generate anything in seconds. And what real-time rendering wants is something more specific. It should be smaller and more efficient and more focused.
Bear in mind, I believe when they said that Digital Foundry saw this running in real time, they had a 5090 running the game, and then they had a second 5090 running DLSS 5. They did say that by launch, the goal is to, of course, have it running on one GPU, unified. But the demos and stuff that we've seen, I believe, have had to run on 2 separate GPUs. They say, though, that they're trying to get this done by the time it launches, so it all runs on one GPU, which is crazy. Bear in mind, all while this is also happening, it's still doing the regular DLSS stuff of like rendering at a lower resolution, upscaling, and doing all of this on top of it.
So we distilled. We took what those general model that knows about the world appearance and compressed it into a much smaller one-step pixel space diffusion transformer model that does only one thing: make real-time rendering look more real. It's still not a regular filter because it inherited all the broad world knowledge from those giant foundational models. And it really understands the image that it's looking at, understand characters, understand lighting and context. But what it has lost is generality. It just cannot generate funny cat videos anymore. But because it only does this one thing, we've managed to make it compact and efficient enough to really run side by side in the game and still make the whole experience feel like a game.
I would expect that DLSS 5 is one of those things. It's going to make your game tank. Like, DLSS in general makes your game run better in terms of raw frame rate, at least. I would expect this is one of those things when you check this box for generative whatever, it probably drops like 30 frames because I don't see how this thing could run quickly. I just don't. Eventually, sure. You know, the idea that we'd be playing any games at 4K period 10 years ago was insane, but or 15 years ago was insane. But, you know, as for today, I'd be shocked if this thing doesn't crater performance.
So, narrative intent, frame-by-frame coherence and streaming, and frame budget, solve all three, we can have generation live inside a render. But the render frame is really only one layer of control. The problem is the mapping between a render frame and a more realistic version of it is not one-to-one. There doesn't exist a reference ground truth for us to match against with. And multiple outcomes could make sense. So which look do you want, where do you want it, and how strong do you want to apply? Those are all artistic calls.
This is where I think like the BGS application went so poorly. So as you can see, they have controls that they'll be supporting. This is, unfortunately, they streamed this in 1080p. So we are limited with our resolution for our enhancements. If only we could DLSS upscale this. As you can see, this structure intensity, global controls. I'm pretty sure it says structure, I think. But this tone intensity. So you can set these scales as you're developing DLSS 5 developer controls. You can set those individually. Developer masking, which I'll show in a second. You've got all these submasking. You've got this for each of the different items in the world that it's controlling intensity. So you can change the appeal or the application of these effects based on what's on screen or what's in this scene, right? Model weights to reflect different artistic intent. Intensity controls to fine-tune intensity on a per frame basis. Masking, manual or automatic control over art assets so that you can turn it off when it's applying in a way that you don't want it to. This is why I think some of the applications that we saw in these teasers were at times more aggressive versus less. Like these applications in FC go from like, okay, fine, to like, it's more subtle. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's like, it's not that bad. I can tell it went over, it applied like some softer light on top, but it's not that bad, not that crazy. But then the Starfield one is like the most jarring because it's so clearly like Bethesda. And then it's like, what is that? Yas, Queen. What are we doing? Like, it doesn't even look the same at all. I think they just crank the intensity. You know, AI slot filter intensity, crank it all the way up. Whereas other applications were a little more gentle, I think. I think that's probably what it was.
And they belong to the people making the game, not the model. And the best person to show you what that means is an artist. So let's invite Gav, who's our creative artist, and he will direct DLSS 5 for you guys.
Show me.
Welcome, Gav.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so what I'm going to show you today is how we can control DLSS 5 for everything you see on the screen. Characters, elements, and props, as well as the full environment. Before I do that, I'm going to show you, I'm going back to what Ed has mentioned. That DLSS 5 is basically enhancing the frame, and it's respecting the render frame. It is not changing the geometry in any way, and it's uplifting the image. If we take a look at this example here, you can see that when we turn DLSS 5 on this character, for example, it's gaining better contrast, better ambient occlusion, better contact shadows. I want you to pay attention to the ears, for example, how they gain subsurface scattering that's previously missing. Or look at the ambient occlusion between the top of the head and the piece of cloth on the top of his head. And the eyes gain better reflections. So as you can see, DLSS 5 is fully respecting the render frame and is just enhancing it. Now that we've...
Honestly, that looked really subtle. I think that if this was what was shown off with DLSS 5, I don't think there would have been much outrage, honestly.
And the eyes gain better reflections.
Like, I don't think people would have been raging about that. Like, that's not bad. the Yasify, that's where people get pissed. Where it like looks like a different person. It's like, why did you add lipstick? You know, like, what are we doing? That's where it gets really bad. But this, I would imagine, is a much subtler, lower on the intensity scale thing.
So as you can see, DLSS 5 is fully respecting the render frame and is just enhancing it. Now that we've seen that, I'm going to show you the...
Okay, here we can get a better idea of what it says. It's all structure intensity versus tone intensity. Structure intensity. I'm curious what that means.
Controls that we're building in DLSS 5 to art direct the frame. I'm going to start from broad level of controls, and I'm going to show you how we can get very granular with how we can...
I'm going to zoom in on it because I want to see it more closely. More closelier.
And control what DLSS 5 is doing to the frame. The first set of controls is actually the models itself. So DLSS 5 has different models. As you can see in this frame here, we have different models, model A, B, C. They have different output because they're trained on different parameters. When a developer picks a model, you're not locked into one. And the theme that you're going to see in all my presentation here is that you can sort of mix and match whatever you want. So picking a specific model does not lock your whole game, for example, into one. You can pick a model for a scene, a model for a different scene, a model for a cutscene. So you can pick whatever.
And I would imagine that for big budget stuff that like is partnered with NVIDIA, like Hogwarts Legacy 2, I would imagine they would even train a specific model just for that game. Like you could train a model just for whatever aesthetic they're going for. I don't know what they're training it on, if it's other games or if it's movies or TV shows or pictures or what, but I would imagine eventually they'll like fine-tune models for specific stuff, but that's why you have some games that look totally yassified and then other games where it's like much more subtle, it seems.
Whatever suits you. Then some more global controls. We have structure intensity as well as tone intensity.
Okay.
So structure intensity is modulating the high frequency detail of the frame, and tone intensity is modulating the low frequency detail of the frame. A simpler way to think about it is structure intensity is basically adding things like better ambient occlusion, better subsurface scattering, and better reflections. Whereas tone intensity is a bit more expressive and is impacting the lighting, is enhancing the lighting. As you can see, if we move the tone slider, it's changing the colors because it's effectively changing the subsurface scattering and the lighting. So these are...
Yeah, I think the tone, I don't mind. The structure is what's really, really easy to overdo because it's what starts to add like wrinkles that you didn't see there before. It starts to really change the shape of the face, which makes it look different than it did before. Even if it's informed by like the actual character model and normal maps and stuff like that, it still is like really, really
global
transformative.
Controls that, again, enhance the whole frame. Now, I'm going to show you some controls that we have. There's two different levels of controls. There's controls that come from the engine side and controls that come from the model side. Because DLSS 5 is a smart model, it understands what's in the frame. So this, for example, is a model automasking. The model understands the character, the base character itself, and we can use the slider to control the intensity at which DLSS 5 is being applied just on the base character, as you can see. And this is coming entirely from the model side. I want to show you one more example of that. In this example, DLSS 5 is off on the environment, and we're just turning it on, again, just for the character, because the model understands which one is the character. So this is coming entirely from the model side, because the model understands the semantics of the scene.
Or you could flip it, I imagine, and just enhance the environment and not touch the NPCs or characters at all, so that it's not getting uncanny. Okay, can we flip it?
What I'm going to show you here is an example of the same model with different structure intensity. You can see that structure intensity 25% is obviously closer to the render frame. We have a midpoint, and then we have 95%, which is closer to the maximum uplift that DLSS can provide.
So you can see.
So again, you can see that the developer has the option to pick whatever intensity they prefer for their final frame.
And I can tell the difference. Like I can definitely see how, as he described earlier, ambient occlusion around like the cloth at the very top versus the base frame or close to the base frame. Like I can see the improvements. Again, this application, I do not think you would have seen anywhere near the outrage that that you did when you revealed, because this is like very subtle. This isn't a big deal. It's the like Resident Evil examples or the Leon example or the Starfield examples, which are like so jarring that it's ridiculous. It's like the bigger the gap is that it's trying to make up, and the lower fidelity the base image is, that's when it's really, really jarring. Like if the base image is already pretty damn good, which this is already pretty damn good, it's going to come off as more subtle and less jarring. But it's really jarring when you go from like a character made of paper mache, like in Starfield, and then you try to go photorealistic with it. It doesn't play well.
And next, I'm going to show you sort of the opposite of that. I'm going to show you the same structure intensity, but with the different models. Again, different models give different outputs because of the training parameters being different. And now that we've taken a look at characters, I'm going to show you how DLSS 5 is also enhancing the rest of the scene. So in this example here, okay, let's say we want to, again, enhance the whole scene. But okay, actually, we don't want to do that. Let's say we want to enhance specific items in the scene. These are controls that come from the engine side. Here we've masked, for instance, the pitcher, the grapes, and the bottles. And these are implemented on the engine side. And you can mask as you see fit. So you can have as many masks as you want. And as you can see, we can control the sliders independently. Each item can be adjusted in intensity and tone completely independently from each other. So you can completely art direct whatever item in the scene you basically want DLSS 5 to enhance or not enhance. And one more example from one of...
Oh, show me the food. Show me the food. I am such a sucker for in-game food. It's one of the reasons I was kind of disappointed with the lack of eventual updates and like DLC for Monster Hunter Wilds. Because the food in Monster Hunter World, way better. Way better. Come at me, cancel me, I don't care. I loved going and getting like a new thing cooked up every time before we left on hunts in Monster Hunter World. The cooking in Wilds is just not on the same level. Not on the same level. Cancel me, I don't care.
Or our scenes. Here, we have grouped the bottom part, as you can see, the whole cutting board, the props at the top. And again, completely masked, the rest of the environment is not being affected. Here we can control, you can see DLSS 5 is adding better.
So that's what it is at the start. That's the base render of it.
Reflections, as you can see, better contact shadows onto the ground. For the bottles, you'll see much better translucency in the bottle, better metal reflections. And those are just the elements that we're uplifting without touching the rest of the scene. Again, tone intensity, structure, everything can be tweaked as the developer sees fit. And last but not least, what I want to show you is how DLSS 5 can enhance the whole environment, in this case, the foliage scene. And as you can see, this scene looks very nice. It is a ray trace scene, but it still looks a little bit plasticky. And when we turn DLSS 5 on, as you can see, the plants come to life, and they look really photoreal. And that's because DLSS 5 is adding subsurface scattering. And that's something that, as you know, traditionally would be incredibly expensive to do in traditional rendering. And DLSS 5 is taking the image to the next level. Again, here we could control the intensity that we wish fully.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it just comes down to the subtle touches, I think, can elevate it. I think subtle touches to like the grapes or the bacon, the subtle touches to the leaves with subsurface scattering on them. That, I think, can elevate it. It's once you start messing with things too severely and when you start tweaking stuff too aggressively, that's when it really, really gets funky and nasty.
So what I hope I showed you today, and this is just a small glimpse of the control we have, but what I hope you get away with is the fact that DLSS 5 is fully controllable from the developer. We have a lot of controls. We are building more, and we're working with our partners to incorporate their feedback so that DLSS 5 becomes a tool for the artists, the art directors, and the creative directors to basically able to have their vision be reflected into the final frame. Thank you.
I think the outrage works, my friends. If you can throw a big enough fit, you can get them to change stuff and make it less sucky. This is better than what it was before. It seems like before it was much closer to just like brute forcing it all the way. And I think the outrage has done a lot to help steer the ship here, because again, this is what they were doing when they thought everybody was going to be super stoked on this. I guarantee you that part of the vision was that Todd was like, yeah, so our NPCs now for Elder Scrolls 6 will look really good because we'll just put it through DLSS 5. We'll just crank that intensity up. And it's like that I don't think, nope. Nope, don't do that. And I think the outrage for how severe of a jump this is has definitely tweaked it and made it so companies are going to be much more cautious before they integrate this stuff. Which I think is really, really good and healthy. But it's going to take a studio willing to have a lighter hand with this stuff than they might want, you know? Because I think there's definitely going to be a feeling that, hey, if we could put a lot of effort into higher fidelity character models, or we could just turn on DLSS 5 and crank it up. I'm sure that's a conversation that's going to happen.
For demoing for us. Yeah, well, you just saw the whole idea. The frame really defined what has to remain, and Gav, the artist, directed what could change. And you know, control and artistic direction is a really exciting research for us, and this is something we will continue iterate and work on based on the developer feedback that we receive. All right. So
yeah, I don't think this will work well in highly stylized games. I agree, and it might be one of those things where it's not for those. Like, obviously, pixel art, it's not going to make sense to use DLSS 5. You know, that doesn't make sense. If you're talking about a game like Animal Crossing, do you really want like photorealistic Animal Crossing? Like, does that make any sense? Has somebody generated that? What, like, Animal Crossing photorealistic? Has anybody generated that? I'm sure it's like cursed. Yeah. Do you really want DLSS 5 version of Animal Crossing? Do you really want that? I'm not so sure. Like, probably not. So there's going to be times where it makes sense and where it can apply and make the game, you know, the trees and the foliage look a little better. There's going to be other times where it's like, probably don't touch it. It is true. I've seen some people in chat, they mention like, well, you don't have to turn it on. That's true. Like I said, as of right now, like, you don't have to turn it on. Eventually, though, when something becomes industry standard, it doesn't really matter if you want to turn it on or off. That's where everything is pointed towards. Just like with ray tracing. There were people back when ray tracing was first being pushed with like the 20 series cards, where they were like, yeah, well, just don't turn ray tracing on, which was a solution at the time. But then what happens? You start getting games where you can't turn ray tracing off. Ray tracing is built into them. It is foundational. It is required for the game lighting engine to work. Like, that's just what it is. This outrage that has hit as a result of all of this stuff, though, does certainly, I think, inform the developers that you can't just treat this as a panacea, as a magical cure that fixes everything. You can't. Like, enhancements and small touches and improvements, sure. But like major things that change the look, like her lips look fuller for some reason, like that, we can't do. You need to have a light touch with this stuff if you're going to use it at all. And then I think people will be willing to engage with it. Because frankly, yeah, you look up here, like for me, the DLSS 5 stuff is impressive when you look at the environment. Like when you look at this stuff over here, after it passes through, like the fine details in the shadows and in the underlighting and all of that, the ambient occlusion, everything, that does look way better. It's the characters and the faces that get too pretty. That's where it loses me. You can even see over here, like in the window, like that looks way better. It just does. But it needs a light touch. And I think this is an example of how the outrage can certainly steer it in the right direction. But I agree, this is not something that you're going to be able to apply or use in every instance, and you shouldn't, because DLSS 5 applied to this, I don't think would go too well. Yeah, I don't think it would go too well. I still can't believe that they did this to Grace. Well, and again, what made it particularly kind of gross is that they did that at the same time that apparently they didn't communicate to anybody they were doing it. So like people within Capcom didn't know they were going to be doing that. Like they learned of DLSS 5 at the same time everybody else did. And so they're talking about, yeah, we want to be true to the artist's intent. And it's like, you didn't tell the artists you were doing this. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, it's crazy. So we'll see. I'm if they're going to make adjustments based on the feedback, and if they're going to walk certain things back and adjust it and give full developer controls and all that stuff, then I'm willing to like check it out and investigate it. It's just a matter of being true to the artist's intent, for one, and then I think it's also very clear for the developers to understand that people don't want every game to look photorealistic. They don't want every character to look like an Instagram model. They're not that interested in that. They want true artist like directed frames and art direction and things like that. They like, you don't need everything to be yassified. And I think also the lesson should be for like BGS and some of these other companies is that you cannot rely on it fully as a crutch to do all of the heavy lifting for you when it comes to character design, texture work, lighting work, stuff like that. You just can't. If you do that, the leap is too severe. And I think the other piece of this, which I just want to throw out there, is I think it really brings up an interesting question of how do you market these games? Do you do trailers with DLSS 5 turned on? A lot of trailers nowadays, I wouldn't be surprised if they're rendering with DLSS 4 or 4.5, turned on to upscale to get it running at a smooth 60 for the game capture, for the gameplay reveal. They don't necessarily tell you that, they don't tell you all the settings that are being used when they render something. So like, are they going to be using DLSS 5 when they render trailers? Because that's going to look a lot different than the version of the game you're going to get if you don't have DLSS 5 supported hardware. That starts to get really weird. I don't know what to do there. I don't like that. So there's still a lot of questions, but I think the main takeaway is if you thought they were going to can this and they were going to just move on and dump it, no, they are in way too deep, and they're going to try and figure out why people reacted the way that they did. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. They're working on it. Okay. Thank you for putting up with me while we go through all of that. DLSS 5, Binding of Isaac would be Nightmare Fuel. Oh, I'm genuinely interested. Like, they haven't shown it running on like non-photorealistic sequences, so it makes me wonder. I'm guessing it's just not for those types of games that are not trying to be photorealistic. Like, what would this look like for It Takes Two, where it's like, yeah, it's real people in the frame, but it's not photorealistic. It's very stylized. So like, what does that look like? I shiver at the thought. Mario, yeah, exactly. Like, what does that look like? Too lazy to skim stream. Catch me up. That's a lot of bull crap, man. We talked about Kingdom Come's sequel spinoff, rather. Kingdom Come Salvation. Talked about Agefield High. Talked about GTA 6 AI slop videos that are making the rounds and going viral. Talked about a bunch of stuff. Raphael, thank you for that super chat. What I don't understand about DLSS 5 is that it would work on the 50 series only, and the majority of the market is on consoles, and the minority would still be using 50 series. What would be the incentive to develop it in a game? Well, NVIDIA would invest heavily, and like, I'm sure would give studios a good fat paycheck if they could market it that way. Because bear in mind, like, just like when they partnered with CDPR to integrate like path tracing and stuff in Cyberpunk 2077, they used that demo basically to sell 30 and 40 series GPUs. It was in all the trailers for those GPUs. It was in all the trailers for everything. So I think that's part of it, is that they'll use it to sell 50 and 60 series GPUs. You're right, a lot of gamers still use consoles, and so the console gamers will never get the benefits of this until AMD trains something similar, which they already said they are doing. So if you think AMD is going to be free from this, no, they're doing the same thing. They're just, as standard, they're a little behind. But yeah, I think it's just laying the groundwork, because again, you saw what he said on stage. He framed this as the same type of generational leap as ray tracing or programmable shaders. Like he's putting it in that tier. So they see this as the next 7 years of GPU technology. This is where all the energy is going to be going. You thought, oh, maybe more VRAM? No. Oh, maybe they're going to get more efficiency when it comes to rasterized lighting? No. It's all this. All the effort's going to be going towards these generative passes over top of the rendered frames. Like that's where all of it's going. So, yeah. What do you think of my new PC specs and Hellbound or Hellhound AMD? I can't read. AMD Hellhound Radeon RX 9060 XT, 16 gigs, Ryzen 5700X 3D, Asus Prime motherboard, 16 gigs of RAM, UG later too. I mean, that sounds baller, dude. That sounds pretty baller. I think you're good, Nate. I think you're good. That sounds fire. Hell yeah. More physics. We don't need more graphical fidelity. I mean, I agree. I would rather them invest heavily in things like physics and like destructible environment tech and stuff. I'd way rather that than whatever this is, but that doesn't make the investors giggle at the idea of more AI stuff. They love their AI stuff, don't they? They love it. They really, really do. That sounded like an alien language. Kinda, yeah. Luke, have you seen the meme I did yesterday? It was AI pic of Asha pegging Todd, saying, "I'm boss now, you're my itch," and Phil in the corner in a chick chair. I did not see that picture. I feel like I would have remembered it if I did see that picture. But no, I did not see that. I think if I did, I apparently blocked it out of my memory. You know, I don't think I've seen that picture. No. Jesus Christ. Oh God. Let's see, man. So true. I've had the exact same experience in Fort Collins. Tea shops are the same, unfortunately. Yeah, spicy. I don't know what it is, but like fancy bougie coffee shops often have the worst coffee. Come at me, cancel me. It's like this like holier than thou thing, because here's my thing. I don't think they are selling you coffee at those fancy hoity-toity coffee shops. They're selling you sophistication. They're selling you the experience and that feeling that you are better than everyone else because you're drinking a coffee that was hand roasted and grinded and that was hand selected by their master mixologist or whatever. They're selling you that feeling, not the coffee. Because if they were selling you the coffee, they'd be Starbucks and they would be doing really, really well. But they're not. They're not. Because they're just selling you the experience, the feeling, you know? Drives me crazy, dude. I've tried. I was like, maybe I'm missing something. One person had the gall to tell me that the coffee shop, it was an acquired taste. I was like, bitch, this ain't caviar. I ordered a latte, and this latte tastes like they spat in it after going for a run. Like, it's terrible. What are we doing? It's insane to me. Like, oh, no, you just need to drink it for 6 months exclusively, and then eventually your taste buds devolve and get used to it. I'm like, they're charging me money. If they were paying me money, okay, maybe I'll put up with that. But no, I'm paying them $12 for a cup of coffee that's gross. Like, what are we doing? It drives me up the wall. And it upsets my wife, because we go to coffee shops and every time I've tried something, I'm like, I have 3 sips. I'm like, it's terrible. Like, it's horrible. You know, people make fun of me for going to restaurants. And you know what? I'll order a quesadilla. You guys, one time on stream, I mentioned that I go to a Mexican restaurant and my friends made fun of me for ordering a quesadilla. What are you, 3 years old? And you guys were like, oh, they got a point. No, dude. Quesadillas are great. Just like going to a restaurant and ordering a Coke, go for it. People look at you weird nowadays. If you go out and you don't order a margarita, okay, I like ordering margaritas, but like you go out to a restaurant and you don't order a beer and like the whatever, like manly man meal. I'm like, hey, If the chicken strips look good, I'm getting me some chicken strips. You don't tell me what to do. I don't care if we're negotiating a multi-million-dollar deal. If I want those chicken nuggies, I'm getting chicken nuggies. No? Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Water for me. I can respect that. It's kind of a power move when you order a water. You know, because the waiter brings the water. And then like, can I get you something else to drink? And you're like, no, I'm fine. They're like, okay. This person means business. Okay. Water with lemon. Ooh. That's hardcore. Yeah. As a Mexican, quesadillas aren't ageist. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it, my friend. A good steak quesadilla, I will do nasty things for. I love a good steak quesadilla. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I love it. I love it. Burritos, don't get me wrong. Burritos are good too, but sometimes a quesadilla just hits the spot. Tell you what. Look here, look, listen. Sure does. Sure does. Let's see. Did I have time for that? Oh, I wanted to show you guys this because this looked cool. I came across this video. This dropped a little while ago, but this is a video from Light, L-I-T-E. Posted this. Baldur's Gate 3 in third person is stunning. And it's just a mod that apparently works today in Baldur's Gate 3. I believe it still pulls out to top down when you go into combat, but it allows you to like fully explore in the third person perspective. And bro, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. I'll be honest, I don't mind the top down stuff. I know some people it's like a deal breaker. They just don't like it. They just can't. But man, yeah, immersion improves immersion. I agree. I just like it. Maybe it's because I love games like The Witcher or, you know, Red Dead or God of War or whatever. Maybe that's what it is. But there's just something about going into this perspective that really makes it click. First person also can really do wonders for me. But look at this. It feels like a totally different game, doesn't it? It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, like how big of a shift it is. I'm also surprised it runs as well as it does. I mean, maybe they had to do a lot of tweaking with it, but man, makes me wonder if they're going to have it as an option in Divinity. I'd be totally okay with that. What's the mod? So according to oh, look at him, he's so cute. He's so cute. According to the description, it is the native camera tweaks mod on Nexus, WASD character movement mod to make it so it controls the way you would kind of expect it to, contextualized action bar mod as well, and he says keep in mind that the .txt file bg3 native camera tweaks.toml has to be edited to achieve my FOV and offset the camera angle as seen in the video. The tweaks can be made on Notepad while the game is running, which is also kind of cool. If you want to copy everything directly, I put the full config here. So you got to pull up the video and find those exact stats and everything. But if you want to get this running yourself, it's these mods that allow for it to be done. Oh no, it's been set to hidden? Oh, weird. Which was the third mod? Oh, contextual action bar. Okay. It just hides the action bar. I'm sure there's another mod that does that. But kind of a vibe, dude. And then for combat, it just pulls back out to the regular camera angle and then it's back to normal. But as far as exploration is concerned, it like totally changes it. It's pretty baller if I'm being real. Pretty baller. You got to log in. Oh, maybe it's hidden. Okay, so it's hidden just for people that aren't logged in. I see. I'm tracking. Dude, it makes me also appreciate the armor sets way more when I can see it up close. Oh, I love it. So anyway, there you go. I saw that. I had to share it because I think it looks awesome. And now you will have been given a taste of what is possible. I'd be totally okay if they wanted to add that as an option in Divinity. I would not complain. I would not complain. There you go. Also, some really impressive, a really crazy video I saw that made me chuckle. Okay. Watch this. Grunt posted this. Young genius attempts to the multiply challenge. Okay, they show a bunch of numbers quick, and you got to multiply them. Here we go.
No way to tell. It was going too fast. It was going way too fast. I couldn't tell. Couldn't do the math that fast. No one could do the math that fast. It was going way too fast.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. I don't know why it made me laugh so hard. It's just like, I don't know. It's going too fast. I don't know. Way too fast. Can't tell. It's refreshing to see my own capabilities reflected, you know, in a video like that. Because so often you see these videos and it's just like some kid that's just making it look easy, and then you see that and oh man. This also okay. I think this is from the Switch. Is this the... I'm not sure. Oh yeah, okay. So I mentioned this the other day as well. But there are two emulation modding projects that are making huge strides in the last couple of weeks, which is kind of crazy. It just goes to show you, don't poke the bear of gamers, or they will just take matters into their own hands. But PS5 emulation continues to make massive strides. So now they are getting like games to run fully up through like the boot sequences. I'll just let this play real quick.
Some more advances with the PS5 emulator. It seems that they released an update that features proper 3D texture support. Because of this, the PS5 version of GTA 5 is able to boot up all the way until the start of the prologue. Now, I do have it sped up for the sake of this video, but if you look, it loads all the way up. I'm going to show you the whole thing right now. Loads in the menu, the audio's working, it goes through the loading screen all the way, and then right as it hits North Yankton, you can't see the gameplay, but you can still hear the audio from the game. Look.
Get down there! Alright, everybody pays attention, no one gets hurt! Go! Open the door!
Someone is also getting the PS5 version of Minecraft to work. They're able to load into a world, but it like runs so horrible and then the game just crashes, so you know, they're not there yet. Some more advances with...
Pretty insane though. Again, remember that 3 weeks ago, none of this worked. None of this worked. And then after Sony decided to do what they decided to do, people were like, okay, bet, we'll just do it ourselves. On the other side, the Switch emulator project is also making huge strides. Mojso over on X, he has posted some of the progress where they are getting GTA 5 to actually work through an emulation layer, as far as I understand it, on the Switch. So they have gotten it to boot. Similar stage as the previous ones, but then you see they actually have gotten it running, not fully, but it's actually like running portions of it, and then more progress.
I saw your face. I'll remember you. You forget 1,000 things every day. How about you make sure this is one of them?
Working even more. Like you're seeing, this is a day later, and then like a day later, like making massive strides, Like they're making so much progress so quickly on these things. It's outrageous. And again, these are just like, you know, programmers or people that work in a relevant field, but like they're not developers. They're not being hired by these companies to do this work. They're just doing it because they're interested in it, and they're cranking it out like it's nothing. It's crazy. Crazy. Absolutely outrageous. Yeah, it's absolutely wild. So I'm very, very impressed. And it's one of those things where I don't think Sony can realistically stop it, even if they want to stop like the PS5 emulator thing. But the reason PC gamers are doing this is because it's also a lot of like PlayStation gamers who are so pissed about all this stuff, and maybe they work as programmers or they work as engineers, and they're going now and they're working on the emulator to get that working so they can move over to PC, not give Sony any of their money, and they'll just emulate the games they want to emulate, which is kind of like badass and cutthroat. I mean, honestly, like it's kind of ridiculous. They're like, okay, fine, we'll do it ourselves. That's effectively what they're doing. It's effectively what they're doing. It's absolutely wild, absolutely crazy. Also, take this with a grain of salt. One of you guys was asking about this earlier, but Bethesda has come out and said that the layoffs have not affected the roadmap, quote unquote, for the Elder Scrolls 6. It hasn't forgotten Oblivion Remastered, and it's not telling you this because Asha forced them to, which is very funny. And so as you can do, as we can look at here, where is it? Okay. Okay. In response to questions from YouTuber Mr. Matty Plays, Bethesda has said that the layoffs also won't affect its plans for Elder Scrolls 6. Quote, the roadmap is for Elder Scrolls 6 is unaffected. That's all you're getting. No, really.
Salutations, everybody.
What is he wearing? That's crazy.
Oh, I'm trying. I've re-recorded like 5 times now. I'm trying to start casual, but I can't do it. We're just gonna have to roll with it, okay? I figured that because this video will get clipped a lot, that it would be hilarious if as people are scrolling social media, like, who's this dude with the specs and he's got the Power Rangers costume on? Anyway, lady.
Honestly, it's kind of big dick energy. I'm gonna be real. That's pretty baller. If you're just like, and then you never acknowledge it. So they told me this as you're wearing just like full clown makeup or something. That's pretty smart. That's pretty smart. I see. So people clipped it, and that's what the article is. I don't want to step on his video's performance, so maybe we'll look at this in another handful of days or something. I want to give his video a chance to perform. I don't want to do a react or anything just yet. So we can look at it later. But apparently it is. They said it's unaffected. Okay. They also said the team is working on remasters and is focused on the Switch 2 launch, said Bethesda, but take that to heart. That version has optimizations we hope to bring to console and PC. Let's see. They also said, okay. Anyway, Bethesda has said a few times now that it would like to be a bit chattier and more open with fans going forward, and reiterated that here. It also said that its new Glasnost, what is Glasnost? Policy isn't because Xbox boss Asha Sharma is making the studio do it. Look, we read the internet too, said the studio. All of our fans and plenty of creators have been asking us to lay out our roadmap for a long time. As bits of info or announcements come out individually, they get lost in the larger picture of what we're doing as a studio. So we felt it was best to do it all at once and paint a clearer picture for everybody. This is a shift in our approach to communication that Bethesda Game Studios has been contemplating for some time now. I mean, like, does anybody believe them? Oh, Glasnost is a transparency and open-mindedness in Russian. Oh, okay. Who knew? 1980s, Soviet Union, Glasnost. Okay, learn something new every day. That's cool. Ify, thank you also for the sub over on Twitch. I'm gonna be real. I'm calling cap. Okay, call me a hater. I don't care. I'm sorry. Are you really expecting me to just to conclude that this is just kind of coincidental that Asha takes over at the same time that you guys come out and announce all of these like big projects, that she gives Obsidian, the Fallout franchise, does these big disclosures with fans on future projects. All of this is happening and she didn't like force you to, or have some hand in like strong arming you to. Maybe they were honestly thinking of trying to be more transparent before this. I'd be surprised if they hadn't considered being more transparent, because everybody's been asking them to be for literal years. I mean, bear in mind again, like since Starfield launched, people have been begging for more clarification on the roadmap for that, for clarification on the DLC. There was a period for about 1.5 years where people didn't know if Starfield was abandoned or not, or going to be abandoned or not. And so I would hope that they would have talked about being more transparent, but I'm sorry, I just don't buy that it's like, no, it's like, no, it's totally not related. Yeah, I'll be honest, I can't say I completely buy that given the timing of all this, but I suppose I welcome more communication from Bethesda anyway. Yeah, and I mean, that's a good move either way. Either way, I think that's good. And what they said specifically was the roadmap for Elder Scrolls 6 is unaffected. That's all you're getting to really. Bethesda was ever so slightly more chatty about its plans for Oblivion Remastered. Yes, Bethesda's plan for Oblivion Remastered. I'm as surprised as you are. I mean, again, their plans typically are to do nothing for a year or a year and a half. And then if they update it, they either are undoing previous things they did that broke the game or they break it worse. So I hope that they are going to unbreak it because it's not running very well right now. But time will tell. Time will tell. As for the roadmap, this is a weird... Roadmap is a weird word choice, is it not? Because roadmap to me, I think of like development pipelines. I think of what their overall game plan is. It doesn't necessarily relate to timing to me, but maybe they just mean it that way. Maybe I'm reading into it too much. Roadmap, I just think is a weird word to use. If people ask, are they going to have to delay the game for it? Because the developers that were laid off said they will have to delay it now, or they might have to delay it now because of the layoffs, but I don't know. They will never fix it. They're trying to herd us like cattle into Fallout 76. You're going to play and you're going to like it. Yeah, in development, roadmap can be used for a project. Yeah, I guess maybe it's just the verbiage is hitting my ear weird. Either way, they say it is unaffected, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Because like, what does that say? If you were able to lay off dozens upon dozens of people and that didn't affect the timeline, what were they doing? You know? How did that not affect it? Because like if I had to like fire somebody on my team, there would be major consequences in the output, in what we are able to do, in the videos that go up and all that. There would be like an actual clear effect. Because like everybody's doing a lot, right? If I fired somebody and then there was no noticeable impact at all, you'd be like, yeah, help me understand. So again, it's like, were they doing nothing, or was there just that much, like that many layers of redundancy? Like you just had extra people in the studio you didn't need, in which case, like, why were they there? But okay. So maybe it was just redundancy, or this is just like they've had to tighten scope, or they've had to pull back things they were doing. Now they won't do because they have less people or less manpower. Or they're just lying and it is affected. Who knows? But I don't know. The bloat is gone. It's possible. What's crazy is that they did lay off a lot of like veterans. They laid off people that had been there for a long time. But like, does that really affect things that much? I mean, I don't know. But interesting. Okay. Let me do this. Okay. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Damn right. Thing about claiming bloat is they're firing people who know how the studio works, how the engine works. It's going to do damage. Well, yeah. So some of the people that they got rid of were like middle manager types. Other people they fired were like artists. One of the ladies that they fired, for example, had been there for, I think, 27 years and was one of their senior artists. And so they were firing like actual, like on the ground developers, and then some middle managers. And I don't think anybody's going to cry that much over like middle manager bloat being reduced. But having said that, it still is, there still is the potential that increasing efficiency, how do I say this? Firing good people can still sometimes increase efficiency, as frustrating or as sad and depressing as that is, and as much as it sucks for the people that are fired. Sometimes you do just have too many people for the work that you're doing, and like you could work more efficiently with a smaller, tighter team. It sucks, but that's just how it is. Yeah, art style needs a refresh. I think just in general, they had some very talented people working there, But I think what's pretty clear is that Asha set the standard. We need to cut 3,200 jobs across the company. And then she went through and found that, like, okay, this team needs to fire this many people. This team needs to fire this many people. This team needs to fire this many people. And then they hand the list to a group of auditors who go into the company and then decide. One of the main reasons I think that this was not a Todd decision to do the layoffs is because I don't, maybe this is me being naive. I don't think Todd would fire somebody he's known for 3 decades. Because they didn't allow her to retire. They fired her. And maybe Todd is like crazy psychopath, whatever, and he's fine with that. But like, I don't think if Todd were the one making the choices, I don't think he would fire somebody he's worked with for 3 decades. That's a long ass time. So the fact that like she was on the list of layoffs, to me, suggests that the layoffs were decided by somebody outside the company, like an independent auditing authority, which is what a lot of corporations do. Is they send in a team. It's literally that scene from Office Space. That's literally what it is. What exactly do you do here? It's literally this.
What you do at Initech is you take the specifications from the customers and you bring them down to the software engineers.
Yes, that's right. Well, then I just have to ask, why couldn't the customers just take them directly to the software people, huh? Well, I'll tell you why.
It's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. But like part of the reason why they do it this way, these companies do it this way, is because they want the people making the firing decisions to be impersonal. They don't want personal relationships to affect it. So even though Todd might ask to keep this person, they don't want that, because again, with a lot of unionized companies, they the longer you've been there, the more you're paid, you know? So somebody that's in X position that's worked there for 27 years is making this much, but the new hire in that position is making this much. So for the outside auditors, they're looking at it and they're like, so you both do the same job? Yeah. Okay. You can do her job. She can do your job. Yeah. Okay. But we're paying her twice as much. Okay. And they note that down, because they don't care that this individual has worked on like iconic games or has worked on this design that was used and became iconic 20 years ago. They don't care. They're just looking at the numbers. And that's why the executives at like Microsoft bring these people in to do those reviews, because they want it to be impersonal. They don't want that baggage. They don't want the human element. Imagine that. You know, like the auditors are paid to not care about that stuff. That's why they're brought in. So I know some Bethesda fans were like, see, no, BGS is saying everything's fine. BGS is still fully in control and everything. But that's the piece I can't get over. I can't come up with a situation where Todd is firing the people he's kept around him for decades. Like new hires, people that have been there a year or two, if he has to lay somebody off, okay, it sucks. I like that person, but we got to do what we got to do. I don't think he would pick the veterans. That to me screams auditor from outside. So, yeah. Corporations not wanting the human element? No. Exactly. Oh my God. Yeah. Nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with that. Okay. Oh, apparently they got it running, even since we just talked about it. So PS5 emulation apparently now boots into gameplay. It's like booting into the gameplay state, at least. It's not like actual playable gameplay, but it's apparently booting into a gameplay state, which is interesting. They very well could get this PS5 emulator working by the end of the year, which would be insane, but that's wild. That's wild. Anyway, okay. Let's see. You talked about giving motivation. Oh, they don't need my motivation. They're fueled by rage. Luke, is there any updates on the procedural cutscene shift on Ubisoft games like Assassin's Creed? Are they going full mocap now? My understanding is that at the very least, they have heard very loud and clear that fans want motion captured cutscenes. They are well aware that's what fans want. Will they be able to do that for Hexa? Like full motion capture for everything? I personally don't think so. Because I think the game is pretty far along, I would guess, based on original timelines. But I do think for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, they understand very much so that that's what fans want. That's what fans are demanding. And let's be honest, it is such an easy W. All they have to do is show every cutscene in the game's main story is fully motion captured. Dude, those posts are going to go viral. Like, can you imagine how much people are going to be celebrating that? Like, instantaneously, that goes viral. Such easy, good press, like pre-order numbers through the roof. I think that would be such an easy W. They just have to do that. And I think that they will eventually do it. Hexa, I think, is too far along for them to do that. I'm expecting Hexa still operates with a lot of the same, like, procedural stuff that the other games have used for a long time. But I think eventually they'll get there. I wouldn't be surprised, frankly, if right now they're reshooting a lot of scenes to overhaul stuff. There was that story, I think, from Insider Gaming recently. Insider AC Hexa mocap. Let's see. Yeah, so like they did a big story where back in April, they took 50 developers off of the project as they overhauled a bunch of stuff. Because basically, like, if you are developing a game and like you decide we need to change a lot of this core stuff. So time out on making quests, time out on making, finishing touches on the environment. We have to go back and redo something more foundational. We'll bring you back on the project a little later. That's apparently what's happened, where they basically took a timeout, took 50 people off the project while they went and redid a bunch of stuff. As you can see here, okay, they're securing projects. They have a 3-month period to find a new project. As first mentioned by Jonathan, Jean Guidon, who began overseeing the Assassin's Creed franchise earlier this year, has decided to remove the cat companion feature from Assassin's Creed Hexa. Instead, the game will take a more grounded approach to witchcraft, with the game's protagonist understanding the science of chemicals. For instance, she knows how to make a smoke bomb, which to ordinary citizens makes it look like she can disappear. At the time of writing, AC Hexa is penciled in for a June 27 release, but sources speculate that with the recent decision to scale back 50 developers, it's an attempt to stay under budget and potentially delay the game to holiday of 2027. Okay. It was also said that Ezio was planned to come in halfway through the game and teach female protagonists the way of the assassin. Unclear if this is still the case. Who knows? I've heard that rumored for like every game for a decade, so who knows if that's actually like true. After this meeting, the game was probably going to turn more into a more traditional Assassin's Creed title. The combat system seemed completely overhauled with a lot of acrobatics as well. A contortionist was also hired to do the mocap for the game, which is also really interesting, like the idea that they brought in contortionists to do it. So it seems like they are doing mocap. They are doing stuff for it. Whether that's just for combat or not, who knows? But I do think that they understand fans are tired of the... Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes. That sounds good to me. I am a witch. Hee. Give me my broom. Like, I think they're like, fans are tired of that, okay? Like, I swear to God, if I boot into AC Hexa or whatever the final title ends up being, and I just like turn around and whatever her name is, was it Elsa or Elisa, or I don't remember what the name is, but if she's just standing like this, fire, I'm going to crash out, dude. I'm going to crash out if that's what it is. I will lose it. Hands on the hips and I'm gone. Walt the Great, thank you for that one. Procedural cutscenes can be good. Look at the Horizon games. Most of the cutscenes are procedural, and they're so good, especially the voice acting. Don't know how Ubisoft are still bad at it. I think most of it is just the bucket of animations that you have to play with. Let's see. Let me see if I can find the post that did it really well. Oh, here's one. Hidden One put this up. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Origins, if it came out 1 year later. It's just hands on the hips with everything. You see, Origins did like full mocap for almost everything, but Odyssey did like this full procedural system, and for the time it was also really, really good. It was really, really well done. And well executed, and just it was really good. But they then just like I think stopped adding animation sets to it or something. I don't know what happened, but they just stopped. They just stopped adding to it. And so the subsequent games, Valhalla included, and then AC Shadows, and then later the new content for AC Black Flag Resynced, they just started adding in the same like hands on hips animations that they used for Odyssey. And the thing is, like, in Odyssey, Cassandra or Alexios might stand that way, and that makes sense for their character. Edward never stood that way, so it feels really out of place. It's like, what are we doing? Same with like if you had frickin' Basim. Yes, sounds good. Like it wouldn't work. Same with Nawe. Nawe standing like this. What are we doing? It doesn't work. And I feel like they didn't really invest that heavily in it, which would have covered the gap. Still more animations in Starfield. I mean, Starfield, literally, do they even really do animations? They just kind of like, hold on, can I do it here? Here, you walk in and I'm at my computer. You open a conversation. Welcome. What can I do for you? And then they glitch. Yeah, if you go to the door, you can go out to your ship. And then the conversation ends. It's like so stupid. It's so stupid. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I liked Fallout 4's conversation system way better than the pivot back they did with Starfield. I'm sorry. The dynamic conversations, I think, felt and looked better than whatever the... I can't stand that. It drives me crazy. I can't stand it. It drives me up the wall. 4 days, so much better. Well, I think they threw the baby out with the bathwater. Because to be fair, Fallout 4, Sean, let's do this. Okay, Fallout 4 had a lot of negative feedback around the time of launch, mainly because people didn't like the voice protagonist. They didn't like it because they felt often they were choosing dialogue that didn't actually match what they expected it to be. So you effectively, all of the conversational choices came down to like, yes, no, maybe, but still yes. And then like, usually an attempt to be funny prompt, like a sort of sarcastic that still was yes. So it was like 3 yeses and a no. And then for some quest lines, they needed you to say yes. So they were all just yes, you know? But they had this kind of dynamic conversational camera where it went a little more cinematic. It changed the angle. And I think it looked way better. Like, I think it looked way better than what you ended up with Starfield, which was this pivot back to what they did in previous games, which was just the straight face-on camera, which I think was a step backwards. I know they said that it was kind of a return to what their fans expected and like the old school design philosophy of just straight on camera. My sneaking suspicion is that they overhauled the conversation system in the interim between Fallout 4 and Starfield for Fallout 76. You remember all the stuff they did by adding NPCs to that game? And my suspicion is that all of those overhauls they made for Fallout 76's conversation stuff, they just copy and pasted over to Starfield. And they built it out in the creation engine to just use the same systems. So they kind of left this dynamic camera behind which I think was a mistake, because I think they could have just kept the same dialogue options and trees and stuff that they had with Starfield, which were an improvement over like the basic dialogue selection in 4, but kept the camera. Like you could make 50, do that pivot there, but then keep the camera, which was better. I think that would have been the way to do it. There are some mods that have done it, to be fair, but Fallout 4 dialogue mod as well. There's one of these that fixes it. It's like this mod changes the dialogue options. Come on, show me. Yeah, here's it. So this actually writes out like the dialogue options instead of being in the like circle. It'll actually just write them out so that you can select which one. And it can even do it with the full dialogue written out so that it matches exactly what you expect to be said. It's just the subtitle that's going to be used is there. But yeah, I think that would have been a better bet, because it's unfortunate that nowadays, a lot of games become defined by the memes. They just do. You don't have to like that it's that way, but that's the way it is. Like if your game becomes the meme of like, art theft or if it's the, like for Marathon, if your game becomes the meme of Witcher 3 devs making a vampire game, that's good. I don't know if that's even a meme. What's an example of a game that like maybe Highguard is the best example. Like Highguard just instantaneously becoming like the meme of it's Jeff's Concord. It's like, what are we doing? My face is tired. Yeah, it's like that's all anybody can think of. Even though there was a lot of the game that was really solid within Mass Effect Andromeda, that's all anybody wanted to talk about. It was like that's what defined it. It's the same thing with Starfield, where it's like it's defined by the loading screens. And I know that a lot of the fans are like, but there's a lot of other good parts to it too. I agree. I know that might be surprising coming from me, because I talk about all these games so much, but I agree. There's a lot of solid parts of Starfield, but it's defined by its memeability in these couple of very severe aspects, because those parts are just like so weak in comparison to the rest of it that's what becomes, that's what defines it, But anywho, yeah. Any update on any of this on God of War? I don't actually know. I saw this one. Apparently there are SDCC panels happening today, and there is one on God of War Lao Fei at 5:30 Pacific time. I don't know what that's for, but they might have something to share. They might have like a couple screenshots or something. I don't know, but there should be at least some discussion of it there. Jumbles, thank you for 15 months. Ooh, baby. There are other great things about Starfield said by people who care about cheese wheels over modern gameplay. I mean, sure. I would say like the ship customization and build out system is really cool and is really well done. And I'll die on that hill. I really like it, but is that enough to like justify buying the game? Like probably not for a lot of people, but yeah. Okay. Fallout 4 was overhated. Starfield was a step back in a lot of systems. Yeah, well, I think, and a lot of people have said this, so I'm not alone. I think Fallout 4 was just one of those games that came out at probably, they say comparison's the thief of joy. I think one of the things that really hurt Fallout is that, for one, it launched in classic Bethesda fashion, really buggy for a lot of people. I remember booting it up and I couldn't get through the first hour because it was so buggy, and I was so disappointed and crestfallen. Beyond that, it also was compared instantaneously to The Witcher 3, which launched in May that year. And that was considered to be like one of the best narrative RPGs in recent memory. And Fallout 4 was expected to be like a big narrative RPG. And the narrative just wasn't very good. Role-playing was not very good. And so once that comparison started happening, comparisons to Thief of Joy, people are like, yeah, well, this other game does all of these things better. And it kind of robbed them of the enjoyment of Fallout 4. Because I think Fallout 4 can be a lot of fun. The problem is you have to play it you can't play it the way you play Fallout New Vegas. You know, a lot of people tried to play Fallout 4 the way they played Fallout New Vegas, and you're going to have a bad time if you do it that way. Because, like, I think Fallout New Vegas is a really good narrative RPG. Fallout 4 is not a very good narrative RPG. It's a really good adventure game. And if you play it like an adventure game, you can have a great time. But you can't take the story that seriously. Because, like, the moment that Fallout 4's narrative fell apart for me was when it was like, okay, my son has been kidnapped and my wife murdered. I need to save my son. And then you go out within an hour and you are breaking down houses in your old neighborhood and being asked to build up, like, and decorate your new home. What are we doing? And then, like, if you kind of will make a beeline if you're really immersed in the story and you're going to be like, I'm going to find my son. And you go, and if you're trying to role play seriously, you're going to constantly hit these walls because BGS's designers wanted you to play it like a sandbox adventure game, kind of like a Skyrim, where you just kind of go and you bounce off all the walls and all the different quest lines. You stumble into this, you go through that quest, and you go through, clear that area. And you can have fun if you play it that way. But if you try to play it immersed in taking the main story seriously, at least for the first half of the game, you're going to miss all of the stuff that Fallout 4 does really, really well, unfortunately. Like, I think it was a game that was kind of shot in the foot by its own story. And it was almost like if you took it seriously, you would have less fun than somebody that ignored the main story, which is wild. It's wild. Paper airplanes. Well, that's why that talk from Emil is so like, I think important to understand, because that talk in it, Emil says, you could write the next great American novel, but you have to understand that most players are going to rip out the pages and make paper airplanes. And that is exactly how they approached Fallout 4, because they built this story, but then the way they designed the game was under the assumption that most players would be making paper airplanes. And so the moment you tried to enjoy the next great American novel, the moment you tried to read the story, you're like, what the hell is this? There's like, it doesn't really work, because the actual fun is in the paper airplanes. That's where they put all the fun and all the effort in. It's like if you went to a book club and then you show up and there's all of these different targets, like the circles that you throw the paper airplanes in. There's all these different mini games and prizes for if you get the paper airplanes thrown over here or through that hole or launched super far or whatever. All of this stuff built up around paper airplanes. But you're like, I'm at a book club. I'm at a book club. What are we doing? Why are we not reading the book? And you're trying to read the book, and the book is written really poorly, and most of the pages have barely any text on them because they just assumed that you would be making paper airplanes. And that's where they put all their energy and effort. And I think that that's the thing with Fallout 4, is that you can have a lot of fun with it, but you have to treat it like you got to embrace the paper airplanes. Because they didn't bother, I think, putting as much energy as they could have into the book itself, because they assumed that most players would get distracted with the paper airplanes. And they're right. On a pure player basis, I think in terms of hours played and player counts and everything, there probably are way, 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 way more people that spent way more time, millions of hours, building shacks, helping a settlement that needed their help, doing that procedural stuff. Way more people did that than enjoyed like the main story and got like really immersed in the role play. Like that's where, to a certain extent, they were right. But I think that's why the people that didn't like Fallout 4 really didn't like it, because they tried to get into it. They went to the book club meeting to read the book, and then they realized the only way to enjoy this meeting is to build paper airplanes out of the paper inside. And they're like, okay, well then this book sucks. This is a bad book club. But it's why you got to go into it knowing what you're getting. Going into Elder Scrolls 6, my expectation is do not expect an RPG. Do not expect quality writing. Do not expect this thing to go head to head with The Witcher 4 in terms of world building and stuff. It's going to be Skyrim with swords. Skyrim with swords. Starfield with swords. That's what I think it's going to be. They've already said they want to use and build on the technology of Starfield. I wouldn't be surprised if they have the same like procedural generation tech, but in the cave system. So you go in a cave and it generates a new layer every time you hit a load screen or whatever. I think that's probably what happens. Expect to be building castles. Yeah, I've said for like 5 years at this point, I think the next big push for them is going to be building castles, and it's going to be the settlement system from Starfield, but a castle. So you'll assign NPCs you've recruited to work in the castle as a blacksmith, as a cook, as, you know, whatever, as a guard. And that's going to be the big feature. So yeah, that's what I'm expecting. Yeah. You never used a sword in Skyrim, monster. Nah, I used the great hammers mainly. I like the double-handed great hammers, war hammers, whatever. Starfield has a settlement system. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Exhibit A. Yeah, it's kind of turned into a bit of an afterthought. The people that got into it got really into it. Starfield. I wonder if I can find a video of somebody that like built a crazy one. Because there are some people that did like crazy build outs. What's this? Okay, so this guy built up a big one that has like automated turrets and like can fight off aliens and monsters that come charging in. I just want to see like a broad overview. Show me a broad overview. You can assign different people you've recruited to work in your settlement and to live there, and you can fly back to that planet to visit it and all this stuff. Yeah, there's like a whole settlement system. Most players probably never touched it. And it's like, honestly, it's not particularly robust. I think it could receive a lot of love. And I think they were banking on the modders picking up a lot of the slack and overhauling a lot of it. They just didn't really do that. But yeah, there's like a whole settlement system that's like pretty elaborate. It's really resource intensive though. So it's very much an end game thing. Like you have to put in a lot of hours to get the materials to build something out that's worth building. It's like frustrating enough that it's probably one of those modes. If you want to get into it, use console commands and just give yourself the aluminum and stuff, because it'll take like 50 hours of grinding to get enough aluminum to make like most habs that you'll want to make. It's really frustrating. So anyway, people are still playing Starfield. Yeah, they can't figure out how to close the game. It's really sad. Someone should help them. Anyway. Where did I leave off? Okay, I read that one. You see the RE movie trailer looks promising. Yeah, it looks promising. I'm interested in it. I'm not expecting anything amazing, but I'm open-minded. Did you see that the new KCD game has multiplayer? I did not. Are you just baiting me? If you're baiting me, you're banned. Let's see. Leaked. Warhorse Studios just trademarked Kingdom Come Salvation. We saw that earlier. Warhorse Studios has confirmed a new Kingdom Come adventure is coming between April 27 and March 28. However, there is the mention of entertainment services for matching users with computer games. Although it doesn't confirm the adventure will include multiplayer features, it clearly implies this is something they have in mind. I don't read that and think multiplayer. Because like this is one of those like super broad things where they have to just classify what it is. So goods and services, computer gaming software programs for video games, downloadable computer game programs, recorded computer playing programs. They're covering like everything that you cannot name this, otherwise it would infringe on the copyright or the trademark. And entertainment services for matching users with computer games, online interactive entertainment, providing online interactive computer games, provision of online computer games, game services providing online from a computer network, electronic game services provided by means of a global communication network. What this effectively does is it just means that you can't launch a multiplayer game or a regular computer gaming software. You can't launch one named Kingdom Come Salvation, which makes sense. Like, yeah, I can see why people would read that and think maybe. I'm not sure that's what that means. Maybe it does. I mean, maybe it's like a co-op game. Who knows? But as far as I understand it, most trademarks in most countries are just saying you can't make something in that trademark, in that grouping of like categories. And it makes sense to me, whether it's single player or multiplayer, to protect your trademark against both categories. Because yeah, if they launch Kingdom Come Salvation and let's say hypothetically it's a single player game, having somebody else come out with Kingdom Come Salvation, the multiplayer game, would be confusing, you know, so they would ban that. But who knows? We'll find out. I have a sneaking suspicion they might give us a little teaser at KCD Fan Fest in August, but time will tell. Time will tell. We'll see. We'll see. No, you're not banned. You're fine. You're fine. Let's see. Okay, I read that one. Sir Fui, thank you for 11 months, almost a year, baby. Let's go. Let's get it. Playing Origins today after getting platinum on Black Flag Resynced, and I won't lie, I hope they go forward with Resync's combat system for Hexa. Oh, really? Really? Like build on it? I don't know what they'll do in terms of combat. I mean, we know that they did new mocap, so it might be like a total reboot, but I guess we'll find out. Jum Lee, thank you for the membership. 15 months. Ooh, baby. There are other great things about Starfield. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I read this one. And the people who say that care about cheese wheels over modern gameplay. That is the funniest defense, is that people are like, you just don't understand. And it's often very clearly like an AI generated post where it does that like AI thing where it goes, it's not just this, it's this. People who don't like, or people who complain about Starfield load screens don't just not understand the engine, but they miss out on what makes it truly remarkable. Let me explain. It's like the most clearly Grok or ChatGPT generated post ever. They're like, defend this for me. Do my thinking for me so I don't have to. Yeah, I do think it's quite stupid when people are like, no, ignore that. The load screens aren't a problem because we can load in 20,000 pieces of cheese. It's like, okay. Cool. With a lot of that stuff, I found that you just go, cool, thumbs up. Good job, buddy. Did you see that Amazon has responded to 007 First Light sequel talks again? This time they say, I think you probably want IOI developing it. Yeah, well, I mean, I think they saw very clearly that, like, let them do what they want to do and you will get a W. Like, don't get too involved. Don't mess with it. Let them do what they're going to do. I think it's a good sign if they just let them do what they need to do. Any news on Infamous, says Tony? I've not heard anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if they revisit that in the future. I just don't think it'll be anytime soon. Ryman, thank you for the 5 as well. Did you see Avatar Legends game was delayed on Xbox right before release? As a hardcore Avatar fan, it's very disappointing. I even pre-ordered it. That is bizarre. Yeah. Nintendo Switch players, it will be available as a standard edition only. Additionally, cross-play with other platforms and language localization beyond English will not be available. We are committed to bringing these features along with upgrading to Deluxe, so two players as soon as possible. We'll keep you updated on our timeline and progress. And then the Xbox community were forced to delay the release due to unforeseen circumstances on back-end feature. We will now launch on September 3rd. Like what? What? And they're going to be adding ranked mode, lobby, spectator mode, keyboard mapping and stuff in future updates. And it launched. I don't understand, man. That's crazy. Talk about getting caught on the back foot. What happened? What happened? That's crazy. That's ridiculous. Oh yeah. Also, to be clear, yeah, Tomb Raider Catalyst was also delayed to 2028 after they delayed Legacy of Atlantis to February. So they're just giving it a little more breathing room so they don't launch 2 games in the same year. Kind of makes sense. Give them more time to polish or whatever. Sir Knight, thank you for the 10. Very generous. Hi, Luke. I watched a VOD doing a post-mortem of Starfield by a creator called Berendir. You might like to watch it in your spare time. Thank you for the suggestion. I will pull that up in another tab and I will look at it. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Got it pulled up. Thank you. Oh, is it the one called Starfield?
This video is sponsored by Opera GX.
Opera GX. I do like Opera. It's a good browser. Okay. Thank you. Any Witcher 4 news? No, not yet. We are eagerly awaiting. Maybe soon, maybe not. Time will tell. What is this? Rockstar Games confirmed that download codes in GTA 6's physical editions for Japan will expire 170 days after the November 19th launch due to local regulations. These code in a box copies worldwide lack discs, but allow early preloading from November 12th, covering the base game and pre-order perks. While most players will redeem quickly amid massive pre-order demand, the limit raises concerns over resale value and game preservation for late buyers or collectors. What? Okay, correction. I've deleted this post. Hold on. Okay. I've deleted this post. He just deleted the post. Okay. I've deleted this post about the Japan version of GTA 6 download code expiring in 170 days. It seems a disclaimer about the product code may be referring to DLC content that is a separate code in the box for the Japanese version. My bad. The Rockstar Q&A says there is just one code in the box with the extra content, but I think it's best to wait and see if that will be like for the Japanese version. Okay. Because what they said is product codes in Japan will expire 170 days after the issuance date, which is the launch date due to regional regulations. And he says, it very well could be true, but I don't want to spread misinformation, so I deleted the post. So it could still be true. He's cautious and worried that it might only refer to DLC. My understanding is that Japan has a lot of regulations on and they're actively investigating a lot of stuff when it comes to a lot of their online entertainment products. So like even stuff like Pokemon cards and things like that, they're exploring new regulations on all of that to like mandate reprints, to mandate reissuance of digital goods, to try and make it fair and stuff like that. So it might be something like that where like they don't want digital codes working indefinitely. Like I don't know why they'd care about that much about it, but that seems crazy. That's wild. Huh. Okay. Why would you collect a code? Well, I think the fear would be that somebody, like, this physical copy of the game sits on a store shelf and then it gets put in the back of the shelf and then somebody buys it 6 months later and the code doesn't work. Like, I think that's the fear, is that it's a physical copy sitting on a shelf somewhere, and if it happens to not be set aside, then it's no good, you know? I don't know. Interesting. It's bizarre. Anyway, my friends, I will leave it there for today. I will be back on Monday, rocking and rolling as always. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. We had a good time, talked about a bunch of stuff. We will be back again, having a great time. So much love. Stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you guys soon, okay? I just joined. I'm sorry, Kelly. I'm sorry. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Don't leave me. I'm sorry, my children. I'm sorry. Much love. I'll see you in the next one. I gotta go do some errands. Super fun. It's about that time. Until next time, my friends. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye. Mwah!